What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz back again. We're going to finish out Data Live today with blue. Lots of crazy cards in here as well. We're coming at you with Brian and Andy today.
Yo.
We're hot off the finish of Anime Evo. Congratulations, Andy. Top 8 finish. We'll have some content on that coming soon, but they're bringing it back into Data Live. Now we have a lot more experience into more Data Live lists.
Oh boy, do
So
we, yeah.
Color our opinions a little more on the set, just us personally.
Okay, considering the amount of Data Live I ended up playing against, I only know 2 cards in blue.
Well,
Just the 2/2 and the
the 1-0.
and then the
The
1/0.
back row, yeah.
Tokas. I don't even know what this double rare is.
we don't care. We only care about good Toka cards.
All right. Well,
See if this Yoshino does. I thought Yoshino was green. I guess she has.
she's
blue
green
cards
and
too.
blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Origami's green and blue also.
Every main girl is 2 colors.
All right. Let's see what this cool card does. When it's played on stage from hand, you can mill a card. If it's level 1 or higher, it gets 2,000 power for the turn. So fits nicely into this standby decks with a lot of level 1s and higher. And beginning of your opponent's attack phase. If this card is opposite an opponent's character, you can move it to an open slot in your front row. So it runs away from combat. You can't run it to combat
No.
necessarily.
Well, you can.
You can.
This
But
card's really awkward.
It can only run if something's opposing it, right? So if this is in an open lane, it can't then run to battle.
Correct.
But I mean,
it's a free runner.
that's fine. That's not really a drawback.
It's a free runner that can't kill your opponent's tech cards, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward.
But
It's like every time I run a runner in front of someone's level 0 and my runner's bigger, they never trade it. They always just side attack me.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's about
So
mitigating
it's like
damage.
they're not going to fall for it and crash into it.
Well, it's not about that. It's about them not swinging direct at you, so you get an extra 0 turn, right? So this doesn't let you do that. But
I think that's a marginal drawback. I think the fact that this sounds like a card you want to put in greedier, like 8 standby decks or something that want to.
no, greedier decks wouldn't run any. They wouldn't run a single level 0
Hear me
plus.
out.
No, because they just want to get the 1/1 out. They wouldn't
Hear me
run
out.
anything.
You can run like a
Standby.
super low 0 lineup. This fits really nicely in that.
No, you don't run low zeros.
You swing for 4K and then you have a runner to hold field, so you don't need to draw any more 0s.
So talking about Anime Evo, looking at all the 8 standby Dow lists, I'm pretty sure none of them ran any field pluses. Because what they do is because Dow has so much dumb filter cards, they can always guarantee like at least 1/1/1 at 0. So like they just run a bunch of filter that it's kind of like Slime, where like these sets are getting so much dumb utility cards that you have to ask yourself this question: is why am I running a field plus at all? What is the point of putting this card in my deck that doesn't do anything later in the game, or is like maybe even a liability later in the game? Why is it in my deck? Like 8 standby is like they don't even need to, because they run on the 1 run anyway, because it's just a card that sticks around, and they can say it's like, oh well, all I need to do is draw 1/4 of by in the first 14 cards of my deck. And if I can't do that, well, I have ways to dig into even more cards costlessly and then ditch it if it's in my hand and then stand by it. So it's like they just don't run any field plus and stand by. This is better in the more aggressive decks, like the ones that are either half standby, like they're running choice, they're running book. I ran this in book and choice. Card's fine. The first effect is really coin flippy. Doesn't because I don't know, all the 0s in Dow are too broken, so you're really incentivized to run a like higher 0 count. So like it's really just like I guess not a 50-50, it's like a 60%.
Even if you're just coin flipping though to get the extra power, like that's enough to get over their big level 0 card.
Right.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario,
can
you can maybe just run away from it.
Yeah, worst case
If they
scenario,
try to
you're a
kill
free
it, you can
runner.
just run.
Card
I like the card a lot. I think it's like actually really good. And maybe if you want a field plusing 0, this seems like a pretty good one.
Yeah, if you need a runner, this seems fine.
Yeah.
It's big and sometimes kills stuff, can run away, save itself.
I don't like that it can't give you, it doesn't help you get an extra level 0 turn, but the other parts of the card make it fine. In my experience, just like, because I played this card a good bit, the first effect just wasn't as good as it read, unfortunately.
And it just lets you get over like Futabas. It lets you get over Armins. Lets you get over like anything that's 3,500. It's like a big threshold nowadays.
If
Goblin
it
Slayer.
hits, is the thing.
Okay, well, it's a coin flip. If it doesn't, well, you still have a runner.
Yeah, you still have a runner. That's the upside. I just like I don't like the downside of not being able to mitigate 1,500 or lower, because I always want an extra level 0 turn if I can get one, because just free stock and free cards and free filter every extra turn you get. Because this is English, everybody likes the fucking eagle screech, the bombs, whatever, fucking tri-field.
What boy do we?
Although, I don't know, English is becoming like JP, where people tri-field just for stock because every deck can plus out their ass so hard they don't need to worry about expending cards at 0. They don't even have to worry about hand anymore. English is probably getting there. But yeah, this card's fine.
Yeah, it's a solid runner.
I think we're literally just all on the spectrum of A to B.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Next, we have this Toka level 1 combo. Sits at 6k if you have 2 or more other characters with date or elemental trait. And climax combo with book at the start of your encore step if the book is in your climax zone and you have another date or elemental character, which you probably always will. And there is no character opposite this, or the character opposite this is reversed. You can look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose a date or elemental character, show it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and this gets 500 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. I have also been informed that this climax combo goes off. This card is in the back row.
Yes. Yeah. Meme plays with possible meme plays with standby, or just playing a 4th copy in the back row. Since it resolves an encore step with the book.
We already talked about this the other day. So you know how I feel about it.
Yeah, super strong. It's definitely the one you said you'd play, right? And
Oh yeah.
I would agree in like pretty much. Oh, I still want to actually make it work with standby. I played this way too much recently. Pre-anime Evo. I was pretty high on book standby. The timing's a little awkward with book standby, but other than that, combo's really, 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 really strong.
Yeah, the fact that it needs a quote-unquote reverse it can be a little bit awkward depending on what deck you're playing into. It gets up to 7k with the climax.
Yeah.
But it might be worth it for the 5-card mill for the deck speed.
Yeah, I guess I'll go on my triumphant raid.
Yeah, go ahead.
Raid.
Go off,
I think
King.
this is I think this is like the best Weiss card I've ever read, probably. Like, this is like the end-all be-all of like level 1 combos. This card is absurd. Just like for so many reasons. It gets to 6,500. It sits bigger than Union on the way back, and is less restrictive than Union. You can run this in any Data Live deck. You don't have to run it in just Magic, right? So it walls up bigger than Union. And it's set that backs, just in general, casts a backup better than Konosuba. It's a standby set. It naturally has synergies with getting reverses on your opponent's turn. Example being the 1/0 Toka that sits in the back row.
Which is in the same color, and also costless, so.
Easy cards to play together. So it walls up bigger than Union. I think the Maguro effect is like, as far as like plussing goes, like if you could like present me like, okay, Andy, you get to choose like you're like on your first deck, or I guess just any time in the game, like you can take a plus. You can either salvage a card, search your deck for a card, like draw 2, ditch 1, or like go through the top 4 cards and pick one or something, right? Well, I guess at that point I'd pick draw 2, ditch 1, but that's wouldn't really apply
That's
here.
more filtering, I guess.
Yeah, I think that looking at the top 4, or in this case 5, I think that's better than search 1. I think that's better than salvage 1.
For first deck, yeah, for sure.
I think when you get into like the kill turn scenario where you're looking for your, exact finisher. Obviously, you're just searching it and grabbing it's the easiest way to do it. But in the top 5 cards of your deck, you're telling me you can't find something that can give you access to that other card.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
if 5 cards doesn't get you to the exact card you want, it'll get you to something that gets you to that card. But I think the benefits of being able to mill that many cards
Yeah, I was gonna
is
say
it's huge.
it's the
like,
mill.
yeah, for sure.
With
The black
Magaros
cards-
and Minamis, I played a lot with those type of cards, and I really enjoy them. Just being able to blast through your first deck and get to a more compressed second deck is fantastic. And like the fact that you can modulate it to say, I have good compression now. I'm only just going to look at 1 card or 2 cards. Or you can kind of look at your first card off like the top. It's up to 4, or in this case, up to 5, right? So
Yeah,
you
up to
look
5.
at the first card, and you can decide to look at the second, then decide to look at the third. So you look at your first card, you're like, shit, it's a climax. Well, I guess I gotta look at the second card. It's a climax, and you're like, well, I guess I'm going through the rest of this deck. And then you just balls to the wall, look at maximum number
Everything.
of cards.
The,
And I think
the best part
the
about
timing
it
for this,
is that you can be reactive, right? The timing lets you be reactive.
yeah,
it's
you can-
very
you can see what you
reactive,
trigger
yes.
and then mill and adjust your deck accordingly.
Yeah, and that's with a normal Magaro, that's just on attack looking for. This is at the end of your turn. After all 3 of your triggers are done, there's no guesswork. You don't have to say, am I going to mess up my compression if I look at cards here? You can kind of say, okay, this is the deck state I'm in. I'm not going to like trigger something and fuck myself over later. Now I can kind of see where I'm at. I have a lot of climaxes in my small deck. Maybe I'll just look at 1 card off this, or look until I hit a character and get my plus. Or you can say, geez, I triple triggered that turn. I need to fucking get through this deck. And you can just say, all right, end of turn, I'm going to go through the last 15 cards in my deck and refresh. So, yeah, bad compression. What bad compression?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, yeah, you need a reverse with it, quote unquote reverse, right? Which is generally
Better than that.
problematic.
Yeah.
But I feel like the thing that denies reverses, especially in English, it's not like being backed up over. It's not like I'm going for my level 1 combo and like 7,000 power isn't cutting it. You like really caught me off guard with that backup. Like you can smell a backup a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like something like Aaron popping back to hand, mobility gear moving out of the way, a runner moving out of the way.
Obero combos.
Obero combos, which are like the Megamine combo from Crimson Legend, or Saikano's Gold Bar combo, if you're familiar with that. Just pop back to hand when frontal attack.
Or just open lanes. Just like.
Or just your opponent just crashes everything and doesn't leave you a reverse. The fact that it works kind of like Fever from Bang Dream, where as long as if there's nothing across from it, it also works. And the fact that you can just throw this in the back row is gravy too. And for a few reasons. If for whatever reason you can't get over their card, which seems to me like, you should be able to get over one of their lanes. Or 2, or all 3.
Or at least threaten getting over one of their lanes.
Yeah, like
For sure.
Data Life has good enough power pump. Definitely more than serviceable power pump it can use. Off of a climax, it also gives power. You can combine it with the My Little Shido event in some interesting ways. You level down their character and get an easier reverse that way. Or you could just, because this triggers from the back row, you just throw this in your back row and you rest it with the My Little Shido event. And it triggers from back row, which is crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the card is definitely extremely, extremely good. My only issues with it, when we were talking about it before, is that in a standby meta, past level 1, you don't get a lot of value in with it because it's really hard to climb over the 1/1s, even the 2/2s. And if Dow's like the field, it's going to be a lot of 8 standby just because that's what Japan plays, and that's probably like the most stable list you could play that plays the most quote-unquote good cards, right? Just jams the most good cards into one deck. Whereas like when you're comparing it to the Coterie or whatever, that you just run it out and it pluses 2. Whereas this is like at level 1, this pluses 2, right? And it gives you a ton of mill. But like other than the problems with like standby that I experienced, where the timing of the mill is like kind of feels bad sometimes, the card's still like ridiculous. And like any deck that you weren't running, what is it, like the Kurumi? If you're choosing to not run Kurumi and you're running like the Toka that we'll see in a little bit, or like any other top end, or anything else that you were doing, or maybe a greedier list where you weren't running standby cards and you were only running like 2 standby or something, and you're gonna like climax swap into the standby to play the Kurumi. I think this card would be the play like 100% of the time, just because like it, even when you whiff combo, this card's a 6k. It's like Goblin Slayer, right? You just puke it out, and it's a 6k all the time. It has that same power condition. But yeah, card's extremely good. In context of the set, it's just a little feels bad for me that it doesn't pair as well with like 4 standby triggers. But like, it's still insane. Card's crazy. But because I gave Kotri an S for being like just broken, non-interactive, +2, why was this card printed? I gave that card the S, like Milo Sheet of the S. I have to give this the A+. Maybe I've tested it too much. Maybe I just don't have the twinkle in my eye anymore. I'm too jaded. I played way too many games with this card to not be, like some sort of doomer about it, as I always am.
Yeah. I'm definitely not saying the Coterie is a bad combo.
No.
Yeah,
If you go back, I gave that one an S, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah,
but
they're both dumb.
I think this is the superior combo, not because it's not just about how many pluses you get into your hand, but it's like the consistency of it for me.
A much more stable combo.
It's very stable. Like Coterie can whiff, this never whiffs.
Right.
And then even though going through cards in your deck, fixing your deck state, right? That's not a raw plus. Right, even though it's not a raw
the mill
plus,
is
it can
good.
be.
Yeah.
You can consider it maybe a pseudo plus.
The incidental mill is very strong.
You're getting extremely high incidental value.
Well, and it's like we said, like you said, it's like the fact that it comes at Encore Step, right? The timing for being able to have your deck in a very good deck state is better than a normal Maguro. It's like, in general, I guess, because you get to stop, or you can choose to not mill at all. Like, not milling at all with your Maguro on attack feels really bad, but this, you're just like, maybe it's better for me to sit with a 4-card hand after I triggered clean, now that I'm 8 or 7 in like some ridiculous number, right? Where even milling 1 card is a massive liability. Where I sort of, when we discussed this the first time the other day, I was like, coming at it from the other angle, where it's like, oh, like when you do have to mill, it's pretty bad, but you don't have to. You can choose to not, which I've done many times. Very nice to be able to choose. So, combo's just really crazy. Again, I honestly think after we've talked about this a second time, I'm probably just too jaded. I probably played the card down too many times, and it needs to sit on ice for a little bit, and I got to come back to it because it definitely needs like. I need to play it with.
This seems better in an 8 standby field, maybe. Right? Because think of it this way: this seems probably better in the mirror match. Well,
I mean, how do you?
I don't know. You're not relying.
You'd have to get to 1 first.
As heavily on standby, though, right?
Yeah.
In a matchup where your opponent is inevitably going to anti-change you with the Shido count, with the Shido event.
Yeah.
This deck doesn't care as much. This deck has a much more stable, like, 1 game. You don't need to just set up a big board and sit on it. You can play a more malleable game plan.
But if you want to, strategy. You can, which is, I think, the strength of it, right? You can play very malleable in that you can just run it out like a normal combo, and it's like whatever, it just incidentally sits at 6-5 after you combo. But you can also like try to set up a god board with like a Toka or 2 in the back row, the 1-0s, right? So that you have like lanes of 8Ks on your opponent's turn, like costless 8Ks, backing up to 10K. Like pretty disgusting things you can do with this.
I don't know. Like I've never played with Data Live. So I guess, I
mean, you played against it enough on your run.
Take what I say with like a, grain of salt maybe, but I feel like the people who have just kind of jumped on the 8 standby wagon or the Switch standby wagon and just like not giving this
didn't even
a chance
look at it, yeah.
in a vacuum, like though I've never played with it, like looking through this whole set, this would be my starting point for sure. Like I think this card just is so versatile and powerful and almost impossible to deny that this seems like easy, like just play book standby.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a milk.
I guess one other thing I thought about, the only thing that really stops this, I think, because I don't want to say that like, oh well, you can't get a reverse with it, right? Because you can pump power. You can pump power to the moon in this game if you plan for it and tech for it. But the thing that destroys this is cost bombs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cost
Right.
bombs are bad because they send
Cost
to another
bombs
zone.
are the true counter to this because it doesn't trigger until encore step
You're
and
not
it
around
sends
during
to
the
another
encore
zone.
step.
Bad
Getting the
fate
reverse does
matchup.
not actually trigger the effect.
And at post WSI, going back into actual events, I feel like people will be, God forbid we get Heaven's Feel set 2
You know
in
what
English before events start again.
though? You know what though? I don't think it's a bad thing that it dies to cost bombs, right? Because cost bombs are the worst they've ever been, probably.
Outside of Fate,
if the
I
meta
agree.
if the meta is shifting to standby, cost bombs don't kill a 1/1.
That's true.
And at least suiciders can like force you to hand encore or force you to like trade with
Yeah.
something, or you have like 1/1 unkillable. I guess 1/1 unkillables would be a good contender to this as well.
Yeah, because they just
Yeah.
keep the lane.
But in that case, you could just My Little Shido it and level it
How
down.
many 1/1 unkillables can they reasonably field? I feel like that's always one lane. Even in the
Yeah,
decks
like
that
that's like
crush
such
on
a. It feels like such a heavy tech card. Like
And
generally,
you could still
speaking,
try
they're
lane
not
it if they
very
had one
good.
lane. Because you could have this one of these in the back row. And
Like-
it still kicks.
I just feel like
Yeah.
the things that answer this combo aren't big enough of threats. If they're playing 1/1 unkillables, it's probably like a 1 of or 2 of, and they're probably hurting themselves in other ways to even run that tech card for you. And
Yeah.
cost bombs in general just aren't good.
Well, outside of Fate. Fate's the only deck you have to care about the cost bombs. Because even into standby, the cost bombs are climax stitch filters in the deck. So, like, they're incentivized to run 4 of them anyway.
Yeah, I guess I was just speaking
Yeah.
more broadly. Though.
Like,
in a
broadly,
vacuum,
yeah, I
like,
agree.
every set has a cost bomb. How many run them?
Just Fate. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like Fate is going to be one of those sets where we're going to come back to tournaments and a bunch of people are going to probably be playing
it'll be
it.
everywhere. Yeah.
Just because it won WSI, and that was one of the only things that people have to look at for English, right? It's like the only thing they have to look at right now.
Mhm.
And Fate put up a great performance from a great player, great pilot, and like had some really unique techs that like just really bopped Konosuba at the top, the rider or whatever. So like that'll be really popular. This will be feels bad into that field. It's unfortunate that Data Live doesn't have a way to clock itself to level 1, because I think if you had a Ricky to like sort of help you get to 1 even against a standby deck first, where they only had maybe 1/1/1 and they couldn't play a backup yet, this would still be like totally 100% to play all the time.
Do they not have anything? Like they don't have a Cosma. They don't have a.
They
Rick, they don't
have-
have anything.
They have a card that we're actually going to look at next that it's like a hand. It's really weird timing. It's like when the card dies, it's like hand to clock, then search. So it's like a drop search. And they have like that green quote unquote Ricky that also had the really bad timing. They like just don't have a good way to clock themselves. They don't even have a good clock bond. It's like just really unfortunate for them in that. But I mean, they have everything else, right?
Yeah,
They gotta not
be
have
weak
something.
somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, that's like I feel like when you look at this card, it's like, yeah, this card's extremely strong, and like it was, at least in my experience, like as I was playing with it and stuff, you start to see like the edge cases start to pile up a little bit, but the baseline of the card is so high, you still don't ever feel that bad.
Yeah, it's super strong.
Maybe as someone who plays more fringe decks in general, I look at this and I'm like, dude,
This is everything you'd ever
if
want.
I could play this in No Game No Life, oh my fucking
or
god.
literally any set, like any
Jesus
other set
Christ.
could
I
play
don't
this
know
card.
how happy I'd be.
You'd play this
You
in
guys don't
literally
know
any
how
other
good you
set.
have it.
Yeah,
Data
literally any set would take this.
Yeah, any set
Yeah,
would take
without-
this. And,
without batting an eye. Yeah.
yeah, and it would be their primary combo, except that this set has too many broken cards in it. And like,
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Coterie is a good choice. It's a good card still, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Some of the green combos we talked about there's some reason to run those if you want to like build more
Yeah.
stock chargy, or just to forego a level 1 combo and just run 8 standby because the raw power of Data Live's
Just so
like,
dumb, yeah.
like the setup of the 2/2 Toka and the 1/0 Toka that we'll see in a little bit. There's just like no wrong way to build it, I feel.
There's too many good cards.
Yeah,
Which good
for
deck do
sure.
you want to play?
Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know, book standby I think was in my experience it was very frustrating. However, I don't think that's a hit against this card. I think it's a hit against the fact that of standby itself and how standby works. Because like if Kurumi was on any other trigger, like you would be running this and that. Like 100% of the time. You'd see every deck, I think, running this. Except people that like wanted to play balls to the wall aggressive and they wanted to play choice.
I get what you mean. The fact that you're playing standby trigger pushes you into running like the other Toka assist cards that
and it's
promote
like,
this like backup heavy game because you're incidentally running standby already.
Or it pushes you towards choice because choice and standby have this like natural synergy because like you have more soul triggers in your deck, which like makes choice more selective, and then like the coterie can just crash out all game, and then standby can like go back over the coterie so like you don't even lose board, like digging into triggers. It's just the set is actually so broken that such a good card like this has problems with other cards in the set, and it's like that's not a hit against this card. It's just like it's a frustrating like deck building hurdle to get over when you want to mix this with the other good cards. So instead of running those good cards, we can just run other good blue cards and have a fine deck too, or good green cards, or other good red cards that aren't the Kurumi stuffs. I mean, this is a combo that I would not feel bad sitting down against or playing myself. Hell, I've played too many games with this card. All right,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, Brian? Andy and I just kind of went off for a bit, so
I think I've said everything I need to say. It seems solid. Mill 5 is maybe awkwardly timed, but milling 5 is good. Lets you react to your triggers.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to 65. If it combo seems fine to me. Pretty good.
It is on book though. We hate book.
I don't like book, no, but I mean it's worth playing this combo. I think.
Yeah.
So.
For as much as we shit on book, it's a blessing. All right, we can move on. Real quick before we talk about this card. Thanks guys. That was a lot. That was really good. That was on me for that.
I think it was better that time too.
Yeah. All right, I'll count myself in. I read this one. All right, 3, 2. All right, so we got the Shido. I briefly mentioned it. We were talking about the Toka. On play, forced mill 2. If there's a climax, choose one of your characters. Can be him. Give that character 1500 power. So he himself could possibly swing in for a 3/5, or give 15 anywhere else on your board. And then when this is reversed in battle, the 2k you may pay cost, which is put a hand card from your hand into your clock. If so, search your deck for up to 1 data or elemental character, show it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. So it is a on reverse drop search, but you clock yourself. One of Data Live's only self-clock effects.
Yeah, is this your best option for attempting to accelerate yourself to level 1?
It's this or the green one, which is like equally shittily timed, I believe.
Accelerating yourself to level 1 though, I don't know how I feel about that saying that because it has to be reversed.
Yeah, the
right?
timing
If
is bad.
Trying to level lock you, they can just side this.
Right, you have to like crash at the turn before.
That's like, I don't know, even Psychonic can get in those situations because it's Ricky is on reverse. They just have a bunch of cards that they want to crash in at 0 anyway, so they don't give a shit. But like Data Live is a set that would like really love to accelerate itself to 1 if it could in a good way, but like it just can't. The only thing it doesn't have. I can't even find that origami card. Here it is. It's when it dies, put the top card of your stock in your clock, and then you get to add a card from your clock to your hand.
Oh, it's Clocknia.
Yeah, it's Clocknia, which is like
That's
pretty yikes.
It's on death, Clocknia.
Yeah.
If you're
I guess
X6, it doesn't work.
I guess at worst, yeah, if you're at X6, it doesn't work at all. But at worst, you get to add the card that you triggered. from your stock with it.
I
But like, I don't know.
guess.
This is worse than. This is better than that slightly, maybe.
I don't think. I
slightly
think they
better,
do
I
different
think,
things, right?
Yeah,
I think
one's a
drop
plus.
searchers and Rickies fill different roles, right? This doesn't raw plus you. The clock Ricky does.
Yes.
It's still on reverse though. You can't even play over it if you were trying to
Yeah.
accelerate yourself.
Yeah, this gives you maybe slightly more controlled acceleration, at least with the fact that you can guarantee you're getting a card into your clock.
It's nice that you can give the 1500 power anywhere. A lot of
Yeah,
cards like
up to 35
Ricky,
maybe.
like level 0 Ricky-ish cards will be like mill 2, maybe give it self power.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can spot this anywhere if you hit the climax is nice.
The Force Mill 2 is either really good or just terrible, depending on what deck state you're in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could ever call this a bad card, but I think I'm with Brian. It's like, it's a fine card, but you know, I think there's better options in Data Live.
Oh, absolutely.
I kind of even want to go deep. I don't like this profile. I think it's like a personal preference, but I don't know.
I don't like it either.
I don't
probably.
like it.
Like personally, I would probably like give it a D, but I think it deserves like somewhere in the C's probably.
I think as the best tool to race to level 1 in the set is.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It earns a C, but aside from that, there's not a lot of merit to playing this card.
I guess I've seen this profile, but even worse. So at least this card like attacks and then does its thing. At least a chump, and it has some free mill on it. So that's fine, I guess. All right, we can move on. This one's kind of boring. This one's much more interesting. Go ahead, Andy.
This is Toka breaking the city. She destroyed that building. That's why it's crooked. Level 0, when your climax is played from your hand, you can pop this back to your hand, choose one of your characters, give it 1000 power, cross turn. And it is a Rest 2 Brainstorm. I know this card sees a shitload of play, especially in the 8 standby builds.
Yep.
For good reason.
You want the pop back because you open up a spot and give power to help hold board. I gotta say, I'm not really a huge fan of it. I think the first effect's great, right? Like
that's the reason you play.
Like having the pop back effect on a brainstormer is fantastic, but I think the fact that having to rest 2 of your characters, even though you're standby and it pops back to your hand, so it's like, well, I still open up the spot, right? So in that sense, the pop back kind of negates the rest 2 problem. But I think the other issue too is you want to be playing the My Shido event,
Yeah,
which
that's what I was
also
gonna
requires
say.
a character rest. If the Shido event didn't exist, or if you were for whatever reason not running it, you know, I think the rest 2 brainstorm in standbys, you know, the drawback is somewhat alleviated by the pop back, but
I think the only saving grace it has in that situation is that Data Live is a set that, like, in every build that's not 8 standby, they only run like 2 brainstormers because they have so much other deck control.
I don't know.
Is there another brainstormer? I don't remember.
The Kurumi, the self-rest search. They're both search brainstorms.
Okay.
Those are the only brainstorms. Kurumi's yellow, which can help you possibly yellow fix, even in the standby builds. But the big thing is, like, even in 8 standby, you're going to have these turns where you don't want to brainstorm at all, more often than not. And on first deck, you want to use Shido, because it's just a top check 4 add 1. Can't, like, whiff. And they have, like, the Chiuri for deck control. They have the Arasu, which, like, goes through 2 cards. Like, Data Live doesn't need to mill that much. But even on the turns where you don't brainstorm, you can play this down, rest it, pop it back to your hand, because like you play a standby every single turn because you're 8 standby.
Even if you weren't 8 standby, you can still do the pop back effect.
Yeah, you could.
So if you're playing choice standby or book standby or whatever, right? You can still pop it back to your hand, open up a lane for when you hit your standby.
Yeah,
cool.
If you don't have standby in hand. I don't know. I feel like this only sees play in 8 standby. The only other good incidental part for, I guess, 8 standby specifically is the deck can have trouble like having blue because its blue wants to be in the grave or on the field all the time.
Right.
So when this card pops back to hand during your 0 turns, if you don't need, because they typically run like 3 or 4 of this as a like blue fix, it pops back to their hand, and then going into their level 1 after they level red, they instantly clock this, so they can play the 1/0 Toka from hand. So that's like some additional synergy for the standby deck, other than the already obvious make my army bigger effect.
I suppose, but I don't know. At that point, if I just needed a blue fix, I could just cram 4 Yoshino runners in there and feel perfectly good about that. Mills me for
I guess
standby targets, field plus, blue. I don't know. I guess we can get to scoring this, right? I think I'd give it probably like a C plus.
It's like maybe a B minus.
I'm at the B minus.
3,000 power is super valuable in a lot of decks, mainly the wall type.
It helps you win the standby mirror by just making you bigger than the card that they put out on that turn, or that they have on that turn, or forces them to respond with a similar effect or extend themselves in some way. And like you combine it with all the other rolling power that you get for like no reason going into your opponent's turn. The extra 1,000 can get pretty hairy. Not to mention the opening up the slot, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah.
Just despite all the shit I talked about, pop back 1,000 power and Overlord, I really do like that effect on this card. It's just the fact that the Shido events in the deck, I just don't think pairs very nicely with the rest 2.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it makes it a little awkward. You have to say you're not going to brainstorm if you're going to play
if
the
it was a
event.
rest 1, I would be right there with you guys.
Or you have to slam down a Shido, rest it, pop it. Those are like your only 2 ways to do it. Is either you don't brainstorm or you're going to play a Shido and pop it that turn. Those are your only outs. Or your only ways to use the event, I guess. Alright, yeah, we can move on. Just a 8 standby brainstorm.
We've got this Yoshino. It's a 2/1 level assist. When you trigger a climax, you can discard a climax and salvage a character, and it changes into the other 2/1 Yoshino, which I believe is a bomb, right? Is it a bomb?
I think it was.
Because we were talking about how awkward it was that one piece wanted to be in the front row and the other wanted to be in the back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. No, it's a level 3 killer. Level 3 killer. So same thing, right?
Basically a bomb, yeah. But I guess this is your bar filter in Yoshino Waifu when you play bar.
It works for book. Works for book. Works for pants.
Oh, it is any climax, yeah.
Yeah, when you trigger a climax, discard a climax. So the way that timing works is you'll have pants, or you'll have the bar, or you'll have the other book that your book drew when you triggered book.
Oh man, that's so nice too. Like with like Fate, right? 8-bar Fate.
Yeah, this is like
you have a climax fix, but it's a blind off the top, right?
This is just salvage.
This is a salvage.
Hard salvage.
It's also a 2/1, so it comes online pretty late.
Yeah, I'll just turn my bar into gate whenever I want.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
It's
definitely strong.
Maybe the theory here is that like it's a good standby target like going into your level 1, because then you can start like trading your bars or trading whatever climax into whatever you want and get that filter effect, and then when your opponent does hit level 2 and plays their early plays, you can then just pivot this into the killer.
Maybe there's like a standby bar deck where you don't even run a level 1. You just run like the early play and like the Kurumi standby.
Or get this too, like even in standby, it just gives you more consistent access to either piece, right? Like you can run 2 and 2 or something, right? Like maybe you can run like a 2-2 split, right? And you're essentially running 4 copies of each because you can just change them into the other one. Or like even if the one you don't want, if the wrong one is in your waiting room and
you just swap
when you stand by, right? Or when you salvage or whatever, you can just get the other half and turn it into the one you want.
Yeah, it just requires you to like not play like a level 1 advantage or whatever. You're like playing something empty, or you're playing standby. You're playing like a finisher, and you're playing the bar for the Yoshino Neg Soul. Because let's be honest, I don't think you're playing the other bar, at all. It also makes your.
I don't know, maybe like standby Yoshino or something, like empty standby into.
I feel like this makes your colors a little weird though. Like blue and the red, but decks are easy. Because like the Toga cards are also like blue and red, but like green is really rough. To like also fit, because like unfortunately like most of the good origami cards are green, not blue, other than her finisher.
Yeah, and if you're in bar to synergize with this card, you're in green for that as well.
Unfortunately, I don't think this is actually. I think the effect printed on it, that second effect printed on it, is strong. It's also a level assist, by the way. Kind of glossed over that part, which is relevant.
Good standby target too.
But I don't know how you would actually play this in a standby deck, and I think even standbying it, I feel like the effect is coming on so late. Like the Sakura is good in Fate because it's online instantly. Like, and you can always have it on the board because you can put your Sakura on the front row and then clock encore it. So like you always have access to the effect.
Right.
And the Sakura the power of the Sakura is that it can grab things out of your clock that aren't characters. So it can grab Stockswalk event. It can grab this. This is more powerful because it's more selective. But the cost is that you'd have to run standby to have it be online at 1. It's just like it's asking a lot for you to get online, to get the most value out of it.
Just the fact that it's just a level assist. At its worst, it's a level assist, which is good in standby. And then you also get this other incidental filter effect. Hell, even if you're not running bar, book, pants, whatever, it works with any climax. If you're just, let's say you're running, I don't know, choice standby, right? And you're just stuck with a climax in your hand, you can just pitch it.
It does let you filter, yeah.
You don't have to be. You don't technically have to be playing like a climax plusing trigger, although it would be most optimal.
I guess. Builds. I just don't. I don't think it comes online early enough.
I think this card on its own is like good enough just to throw into like a standby deck, right? It's like the floor is high enough just being a level assist and then having the incidental filter ability. Mm-hmm. And it just gets even better if you start playing like bar or pants or book that can put climaxes into your hand, and then it also opens the door to running the early play killer, and essentially being able to have like split the 2 different ones and then have like functional 4 copies of each is really nice.
I talked myself into hating it. I think it comes online too late. I think that green, like if you're saying you're going to run standby, I think green is a little bit too much of a liability, unless you're running something like spicy, in which case, like, sure, I guess it's fine. I think the big problem for me, even in a standby deck, it comes online too late for it to be super meaningful for me.
Yeah, I mean
I think there's too much other pump. Like if we're talking about giving 1500 power somewhere, the costless Toka just does it better at level 1, like even better than the level assist because it has a broken effect on it.
Right.
And it's in the same colors. It's like it makes it really hard for me to justify it. In a vacuum, I think I'd more agree with Andy. It'd be fine. But like I guess it's not as fair. I can go like C-, I guess. Like vacuum. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the effect, but the most obvious comparison is the Sakura from Fate, which is a level 0, which you can have on the field all game and filter all of your climaxes whenever you see them. This, on the other hand, unless you're really gunning for it with standby, which in a lot of cases I feel like you'd be shooting for like a 2/2 standby target anyway with your standby. You probably this is just a little bit awkward. It does get online too late. I agree.
And if you're an X standby, I mean, like sometimes you just don't have that open slot in the back row. And it's like if I already had the Toka on board, I don't think I would ever put this over the Toka, right?
I don't think so. The damage price too good, especially if you're walling up.
Yeah.
And you know what else too? Even if you were gonna run, like I don't think this slots into the current standby builds.
No,
but I think there's maybe a standby build out there, like undiscovered, that maybe can run this.
Something with green.
But then you run into the issue where, okay, you want to play Rug standby or like blue, red, green standby. Well, then you want to be running the Shido event too, and that's gonna push you into quad color.
Right.
Yeah, that's the big
Which,
problem with
green.
green.
I don't care how good Data Live is, it's awkward.
You need to have like a level swap effect to be able to effectively run quad color, or something to manipulate the bottom card of your clock, like Pastel Palettes does, or something. And they just don't have something like that. But yeah, I guess we can move on. And it's definitely an interesting card. I'd be interested to see something like make this work. But all right, who dis? I think this is me. Oh, we got the good card. All right, so we got the Toko finisher. 500 power for each of the other data elemental characters, so she will be an 11k all the time. She's a healer because every single level 3 in this entire set heals you, except for like 2 of them. And then when the battle point of this becomes reversed, you may pay 3, ditch 2, and sack the climax. Choose 3 cards in your opponent's waiting room, stack them on the top of your opponent's deck in any order, then deal 5. So imagine if burning 2 was dealing 5.
Whoa!
This combo's disgusting.
Clinton.
Yeah, this combo.
Shout out to Paul Clinton.
And it's a rare. We're gonna see the Paul. This is the final form of the Paul Clinton burn 5.
Yeah,
because he's actually burning for 2.
This combo's
This is
sick.
so
Yeah.
busted.
Yeah, it's really dumb. I know.
The fact that it's like, yeah, it burns for 5, but like you said, you're putting the cards on top, so it's like you only actually have to. If a burn 2 would stick, you get 5 instead. Kind of, you know what I mean?
And think about this: what if your opponent is hyper compressed? What if you have no way to kill them? What if they're like 3 and 4, right? Something disgusting. Swing in with this on your first attack. Put in this order: climax, clean card, clean card. Swing your burn cancels. Swing 2 guaranteed damage. Kit told me about that play. Kit's been preaching this a lot.
Like,
he made me
double
play
Toka? Double
No.
Toka?
You can only do one of this because you sack the climax. But I'm saying you swing in your other lane for a guaranteed 2 damage to kill them if you only need to stick 2 to kill them. Like, and they think that just like, there's no way I die. I have 4 climaxes and 4 cards.
You stack.
Yeah, that's
you
very
stack it.
Oh my god, dude, this is dope.
It's nasty, disgusting.
Yeah. This is the stuff dreams are made of, gentlemen.
This
is like that one game when I burned 5 and stuck.
Except you're only burning 2.
You're gonna win games that you have no business winning with this.
This actually pairs very well with the choice combo because you're just like super aggressive all game. You probably hit 3 before your opponent anyway because you're crashing your Coterie all the time and just plussing hand like crazy. So you get to level 3 first, your opponent's at like 2-4, 2-5 or something, right? Because like you're pushing damage all game if you're playing choice. You slam this down and you can just close these massive gaps no matter what your opponent's compression is. And it can make your successive attacks better if you need to like remove the climax. And then if your opponent doesn't have a grave, you know what creates a grave for you? The Kurumi Icy Tail, which is in yellow. This card's really disgusting paired with that card. Because it can create a grave for you to put back.
Wow, get rid of all their climaxes, then stack 3 clean on top and nail them.
Yep.
That's gross.
Yeah, this set is so pushed.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that's maybe bad with it is it only hits 12k with climax and you need a reverse.
Yeah, the what you typically do is you field 2 of these and then you put your opponent in a like sort of check situation because after something gets reversed, you then choose to pay the cost. So if your opponent's going to like free fresh or something, you like you get them to burn it on the first one and then you swing in. Sort of like how you do when you're trying to get 1 Yukina off. In the more like I guess yellow Yukina list, it plays kind of like Yukina, except this card actually kills people, unlike Yukina, which has never killed anyone.
And this card heals too.
Yep, it's literally Yukina when you read it, right?
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's Yukina, but 500 less power because it's cross turn instead of your turn only. Yukina swings in at 12/5. It only swings in at 12. Yeah, this card's nuts. I think that like book pants, like just basically Toko waifu, is like actually like an absolute like nuts deck.
Toko Waifu
Yeah.
have some pretty good cards, at least very solid combos.
Yeah, like it's absolutely like you could take that to a tournament and not feel bad about it.
And because all the hype
Crazy.
is for the Kotari combo, right? I bet you're going to be able to get the Toko combo pretty cheap. So you can build like an actually completely broken S tier deck for probably very cheap when this deck comes out. This is
Yikes,
gross.
yeah.
This is really gross. Yeah, combo is the fact that you can only do one of it, unfortunately. Like
Yeah,
I think I
that's the only
agree with
reason it's not
Andy.
F, but it's
Like a A, yeah. I think this one suffers a little bit from the reading stronger than it plays.
maybe.
Because like burning 2 after your attack, if your attack didn't cancel, there's a pretty high chance that they
You
can
kind of
cancel
have to
too.
go all in on it too.
Yeah,
Like,
you do.
it's
you do,
not like you can field
Yukina.
multiples of this and be like, oh, well, one of them will hit. You have to
Right.
sack the climax and say, I'm calling my shot.
This one,
Mhm.
yeah.
But it's in that sense, it makes it a very nice finisher if you want to just run like a lean, super lean finisher lineup, like maybe aggressive builds that want to like focus more on level 1 and getting early snowball.
Yeah, you're on like
advantage,
2
and
of
then
this or something, right?
maybe
Like,
these are the only level 3s in your deck, just 4 copies of this or
yeah,
something. You know what I mean? Like
it's just your only
you're
finisher.
you're just gonna go for more early game advantage, and then I'll play one of these, and that'll be good enough for late game.
Because it's fucking
Kind of
burn
like
5.
slime with the
Milim,
combo.
yeah.
It's kind of like, well, if I need a finisher,
You can tap all the way out for this one.
Yeah,
So on
yeah.
reverse, pay 3, right? So you can go all the way down to nothing if you really had to.
Mm.
Swing with this last.
Yeah, I mean it's not even that resource intensive since you can only get one off. You can build 3
Yeah.
stock from your attacks and then ditch 2.
It's like so opposite of the standby deck, though, right? Like this is just for the decks that don't give a fuck about board.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like
Right?
this is like literally for whatever, because like they're losing their board all game. So like especially with choice, right? I think that's why it pairs so well with choice, because your opponent can clear your coteries with literally fucking anything. So they're naturally gonna leave reverses all game for Toka
Right.
to kill. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't pair well with like tankier mid games, but like even the Toka like level 1 will fall off by the time.
And I
This
guess
thing
even
needs
still, you
reverses.
could just my little Shido.
Yes, you could. You could just level down their
Um,
target to confirm your thing, and it's a healer.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Definitely want to mess around with this card.
Yeah. This
it's-
card's
solid.
disgusting. This is just one of the cards. Like every card, gross. Gross. Next, Andy, this one's you.
Got Yoshino in the rain. Rabbit's getting all wet. Discard a card from your hand to the waiting room. When this placed from hand to stage, you may pay the cost. If you do, put the top card of your clock to stock. So clock to stock healer. And when you play it from hand to stage, you can pay 2, bounce one of your opponent's characters. It reads fine enough, but I just don't think this is necessary in the set. Like the
No.
second
Yeah.
that you don't need to pop their character, you just level it down if you really need to.
Right.
It's
Your
like
event, and then everything else heals already.
yeah. It's like
This
a
would be good
blue,
in another set, but
It's like a blue auxiliary healer, because the other blue level 3 actually doesn't heal.
yeah, who
We're gonna
gives
look at that
about-
next.
Who gives a shit about your stock? All your finishers are you tap all the way out for. The
Yeah.
Toko we just read, you can go down to 0 stock. Kurami doesn't need stock.
This is like a dirtle card. When you're like not ready to do your finisher, you hit level 3 early and you just need to heal down.
I think it's a fine card. It reads fine enough in a vacuum, but in Data Live, it just is like
Yeah.
Feels
you're
a
doing
little
yourself a
lackluster,
disservice to put this in your deck. Like I can't give it an F, but like don't run this card.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine as an auxiliary healer when you're like really only in like blue and yellow. Because like this is a better card to like play down than the Icy Tail. Because like you don't want to, if you're not going to do anything. Because the Icy Tail feels bad if you don't do the effect a lot of the time. This is just
Right.
like heal, bounce, like kind of dirtily, kind of like wasting your time.
It just,
Because
it
I
just
played this card.
overlaps with literally everything.
I played this card. Like, full disclosure, I did play this card in the decks where I was running the Toka top end, specifically as like a 5th healer. I only ran one of it. It was there for when my opponent wasn't ready to die and I wasn't ready to kill them.
Maybe. Okay, hold up. Like, maybe in the aggressive decks where you want to, like, I'll take off the minus. Like, in the aggressive decks where it's like, you're not really building up a whole bunch of stock, but you still want to be able to, like, yeah, I'll play, like, this 2-soul and then still be able to drop another 2-soul because I only have 3 stock.
Yeah, because it's just
like, it opens up that
stock.
line.
Gives you 2-soul beaters from 3. So.
I mean, it's nice that they have the bounce. They don't necessarily need it, but it is potentially relevant. It's kind of expensive. But
well, the card overall then would be 3 stock 1 card, 3 stock 2 cards. Bounce a character.
Yeah, because it refunds itself a stock. Yeah, it's fine.
I would still be hard pressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only when you need, like, it felt good as that one of, as like in exactly that situation Andy said. I have 3 stock and I want to play 1 Toka and 1 of this.
Yeah.
Or I need to wait a turn, and like this is a stock healer is better at like waiting a turn, right?
Right.
So it's like fine, but yeah, you wouldn't like this doesn't go in the good stuff deck, that's for sure. Like there's better things to be playing.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you don't stand by this card.
No. Do anything. All right, we can move on. Brian, think it's you.
All right, this is level 3 origami combo. During this card's battles, your opponent can't play backups. When this card is played from your hand to the stage, look at top 3, take 1. When this card attacks, if the blue gate is in your climax zone and you have 4 or more other characters, so full field, gets 1,000 power for the turn. Put the bottom 4 cards of your opponent's deck into their waiting room and deal X damage. So 4-card Icy Tail gets 1,000 power, digs into its climax.
Can't back up.
This
I like it.
Well, this card is even better than that actually. This card is I believe this is before.
Oh no, is this a trigger from back row?
No. This is it's definitely better. This was before the translation was updated, I think, when the slideshow was generated. But it's not burn X, it's burn 1 X times.
Really?
So it's burn 1 for every climax you reveal on the bottom. There is a little bit of overlap with the other Icy Tail, but there's no, this one's free, so there's no reason why you can't run both.
You just play a mill deck. You mill.
Dude, you know what happens when they run out of cards to Icy Tail? You just shuffle them all back and you Icy Tail them again.
Yeah, do it again.
Well, you know what's good?
Oh man.
You know what's really cool? This card with the Toka finisher we just looked at. What if I told you could run like 2 of this and like 3 or 4 of the Toka, where the Toka's your primary, and this is only for when your opponent is disgustingly compressed, and just split your pants 2 and 2 or 3 and 1 and run some climax swappers. Then you just have better modularity. Like a lot of people have been trying that.
It shouldn't be too hard to set up for, I would imagine. Because you should.
This card does have top check 3, so
good Weiss players are gonna know the matchup. You're gonna sit down, you're gonna resolve your mulligans and be like, my opponent's on this deck. Psychono. I don't think I'm gonna stick a burn 5 there. I think from the get-go I'm gonna be going for this combo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it's not bad for you to
just know your matchups and then just figure out where you want to go for. Also, a costless finisher.
Yeah, it's costless.
Yeah, this one's costless, which is
costless potential. Multiple ping seems pretty good.
One Icy Tail.
That mill ability right there. That's my favorite thing ever to see on a level 3. Digs for its own climax. Beautiful.
Or at least a climax, right? If you're splitting your pants, you can climax swap.
I know, like especially in JP, like free fresh counters seem a lot more prevalent. Can't free fresh counter. I'm gonna Icy Tail you, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
Yeah. This is well, I mean, it's still on attack too, so they would do that even if they were able to play the backup.
But yeah, if you mill all their climaxes though, like right, like
yeah, they can throw it back in.
Get out of jail free card.
That is like one of the drawbacks to the Cur in the Icy Tail. One Icy Tail in 4 cards is not like super consistent. You probably get a burn 1 or burn 1 2 times, but burn 1 2 times for free is Cocochino.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so like you're kind of coin flipping for it, but like a little less consistent than the Aqua, but the Aqua was pay 1 and was a healer, and this like digs into its own thing and it's costless. I really like the idea of splitting it with the Toka.
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty easy to do. Gives you a lot of modularity. I like it.
Easy,
easy A card.
Man, all these cards are too good.
Yeah. Plus for origami.
Dude. This is, man.
This will be another cheap one.
Place out of this fucking set, dude. This
right? It's too good. Oh, it's so disgusting. This is the full disclosure. I've already bought this set, and I already own it in JP. And I would normally be like even slightly upset, but when you own the best deck in both formats, it doesn't feel that bad.
Dude,
right?
like here's the red pill, right? Like as long as they don't, like if they bring the set to English without altering it, if we don't get like a version E, right? Assuming we get like the actual set card for card, right?
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they'll change it.
Yeah, even if a ban list were to come out, ban as many cards as you want from this fucking set. It's still going to be.
It's still be around, right?
You know what I mean? Oh, you got rid of the Kurumi finisher. I'll just play any of the other good cards. Get rid of the Shido counter. Now I guess I can play the Yoshino Soul Wall. Sweet. Like,
yeah. You get rid of the Coterie, guess I'll play Toka, right? Like, it doesn't really matter.
There's like literally like
the Coterie, yeah.
The level 1 combo. There's a dearth of good combos to hit at level 1, level 3. Supreme access to all utility cards. Like this is,
it's insane.
They could ban anything they want from this set.
And it'll still be fine. It'll still be at the worst, like at the bottom of the S tier instead of at the top, right? Like it'll stop defining the meta, but it'll still be dumb as shit.
True. Actually, like now that we're getting closer to the end of it and we've seen the whole set, if they were to exclude any card or ban something from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's just the Shido event. Like
Shido and Kurumi are the like big hits, I think, because they're too
like,
modular.
The thing though, Kurumi, it's like you can just replace it with another finisher, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But there's no replacement for the Shido event, so that's kind of just like you still have your super good deck that you can build any way you want, but you just have to play more honest mid game.
Yeah, deck's dumb. That's dumb. All right, let's look at some more blue cards. Brian, this is you, so it's me. All right, so I got Toka. This is a Climax Stitch Salvage, and when damage dealt by this is canceled, it goes to stock.
Is that her leg?
Yes.
Yes.
So you got to look at the look past the text. She's like sitting on a wall and like
she's like sitting. Her legs are like sideways.
Considering every other Toka card, she's been eating bread or like looking at bread. I thought that was like a loaf of bread she was holding. Like a big like Italian.
No, that's
loaf,
later.
You know?
That's later. She's always eating.
It's just her leg. You can't even see her feet. This card sucks.
In terms of a Climax Stitch, this is way above average, right? I think the only thing that could possibly be better than this would be Hand Filter, like the slime one. This is just really good. It's one of the only good blue fixes too. If you're like running low on, you're not trying to run a lot of blue.
Oh wait, this goes to stock too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, card's good.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. This might be just this is like it's a boring card.
Wait.
It's like A-.
Oh my god, dude, blue green, dude. You could ramp so fucking hard, dude. Oh, I'm just looking back at my favorite card from the set so far. That level 0 Toka, the first green card, the one that's
the origami. Yeah, the origami bomb.
Origami, the Hogami bomb 2.0, the green one.
Yeah.
Goes to stock. This goes to stock. Level 1 combo build stock. Where's
then you get stock
alert?
swap.
Where's like the 3-9 event in this set? Let's see a 3-9 event in blue.
Yeah, who decided this was a good thing to bring to English?
I don't know, dude. People who wanted to make money.
I guess. I mean, they
Their
are going to
lives-
make money off
Yeah,
it.
they're gonna
so-
make a lot of money
Damn, dude.
because all the meta
I'd gi-
slaves are gonna buy it.
I'd
and-
give it the A, but no feet. I'm gonna have to knock it a point there, but
Yeah, I kind of feel bad giving like an A rating to like such
yeah,
a
like you
simple
can't see the
card.
toes. It's ridiculous.
It's
But
pretty
it's-
good,
Like right there
though.
with
But
you,
it's actually like the only better card than this is like the Rimuru filter, which is like a double filter. This is like almost as good as a double filter. All right, we can move on. Simple, strong. Back to you, Andy. You keep getting these origami.
Origami on the bench. During attack phase, you cannot return characters from your waiting room to your hand via your own card effects. I feel really bad. Like I couldn't come up with like a better name for it than that. You know, I was just looking at the card and I was like, oh, you can't see her toes in this one either. She has shoes
Jesus
on, her
Christ.
loafers, but I can't say that. I guess you could cut this part out, Carmen.
No.
Or, oh, okay. Oh well. Start of your opponent's attack phase. You can move this to an empty slot in your front row that has an opponent character opposite. It's kind of like the inverse to the Yoshino runner. Yoshino's a little bitch and runs from battle. Origami's a Chad and she asserts dominance and runs to battle.
Yep. 3K Chaser. This set doesn't salvage in the attack phase at all. Ever.
It's like no drawback. This is pretty
Nope.
solid.
There's no, like, I don't think there's a single combo that you'd be running, and I don't think you'd be running Door unless you were playing, like, Kotari Waifu with, like, the weird top ends that aren't great. So, like, this is just another plus field plus 0 options. 3K Chaser. Only level 0.
I guess the only drawback to that is, like you said earlier, Carmen, there's like a lot of people aren't even running field plussing zeros because
Yeah, it's just
good
it's so
filtering.
hard to dedicate slots to filter.
But dang, if you want good field plussing zeros like this, the Yoshino runner,
They got them.
Yeah, definitely have options.
there's tons and tons.
Good for Tobichi Waifu. Sure. Yeah, I think it's like because like the
Yeah.
I think normally the first effect would be a drawback in any other set, but like it's not this set.
You know,
at
you
all.
brought up a good point about waifu decks there too. Like all the waifu decks are going to be like really, really strong for this set. I feel right. Like,
Oh, it's
oh
absolutely.
dang,
exact
I'm running
round.
origami. I don't get to play the.
Yeah, right.
I can't play the Yoshino runner. What am I gonna do? Oh, I'll just play the origami runner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm playing Toko. What am I gonna do? I'll just play the card with her loaf of bread leg instead of the runners. You know what I mean?
Oh, and by the way, you get to run like clean cut and like a bunch of other shit. Togo Waifu is actually really disgusting, I think. You even get a brainstorm. Well, not a lot of these other girls have brainstorms.
Like hell,
themselves.
whoever your best girl is doesn't matter, dude. Like any of
Yeah.
these decks are gonna be good.
Yeah. All right.
Yo, what? Wait a second. Where are the twins?
That's season 2, man.
This is all season one.
Yeah, that's the scariest part. Think about that for 5 seconds.
No,
Every
no,
card that
the-
we've
the-
seen
Bushiroad stop.
has been not even. No, there have been some promotional art. Very few promotional art. Everything we've seen has mostly been screen caps or promotional art from season 1 only. Just gonna let that sit for a little bit.
Maybe they'll just trade the Celestial Spirit trade again. You know what I mean? They'll just make another
another spirit trade.
So you can
spell
only
use
play
a
Data
different
Live
kanji.
2. Oh my god, we're definitely getting a Data Live set 2. It's the scariest
Don't
part.
say that. No. Oh, I'm not listening. I didn't say
Yeah,
that.
speaking about not listening, and things that we don't like and things that are broken, we don't want to hear about anymore. Brian, you got
Yeah,
this one.
This is the Toka back row. It's a level 1 1500 that sits in the back row, and at the beginning of your opponent's draw step, you choose one of your characters. It gets 1500 until the end of the turn. In standby decks, it helps your stuff wall up. Works with the Toka combo also that wants to wall up. And also, if that wasn't enough, during your opponent's turn, if your opponent crashes into one of your lanes, you get to look at the top card of your deck and keep it there or send it to the bottom.
Like damage scribe, but you don't even get punished for canceling.
Like I don't understand like how they print this card, like what their card economy on this
No,
is. Like
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
here's the thing: 1500 during opponent's turn is like super fucking good. I don't
Yeah.
care what deck
Yes.
you're playing. It's absurd in standby.
Yeah.
And the fact that here's the like that's not that thing that like baffles me though. You know what I mean? Like 1500 spot power on opponent's turn. Okay, I can get that, right? That's not like too out there. The fact that the reverse scry effect, it's not just like pick the same character you give the 1500 to.
No,
or
it's
like a
global.
frontal assist. It's global. That's like it's global. It's all your fucking characters.
It's so disgusting.
Why?
This card is
Like,
Like-
this card would still be like super fucking good if it was just spot 1500 and that character gets to scry.
Have you
Oh,
ever
but-
had the
yeah.
misfortune of experiencing this when your opponent has double?
And the other thing too, it stacks. It
Yeah.
stacks with the top check rearrange from the 2/2.
Yep.
It stacks with extra copies of itself.
Yep.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
It's so disgusting when you
Yeah.
have
Oh
two of
my
this on the
God.
board. You just don't take damage. You don't take damage the rest of the game. If you're like even moderately compressed and your opponent is like not swinging in for 1/1/1, in which if they're swinging in for 1/1/1, they're crashing into you, right? So like you
Mhm.
just every swing for 1 is a swing for 3. Like it's so gross. This card is a mistake. This card is a problem. I think this with the 8 standby like engine is really what makes that deck so unbelievably rock solid.
Yeah, I
Like-
think so.
And I think that is this is what will push people towards bringing 8 standby data live over anything else to longer events. Because god damn it, it's like you feel like you're just cheating the whole time.
it seems like a very boring deck to me. It's
Oh, yeah.
kinda like you just set up
So
the
boring.
pieces and then I'm just gonna sit here and scry to cancel damage for the rest of the game.
If you guys want to watch something funny, go look up Anime Evo. I believe it was on day 1. I believe it was 8 standby mirror, and I think it was actually Hatsu and Azure who ended up playing or were being in top 8. I think it was them playing against each other. I could be wrong, but I remember being told that at the beginning of the game, the first 4 turns of the game were draw clock, play standby, pass. Because they were literally building their army to have more of this card and more 1/1s before they even started attacking. That's where we're going.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like, and can I fault them for doing that? No, that's how you win the mirror. The person who sets up the god board first wins. Like, who even needs a brainstorm at that rate? I'm never taking damage, even on first deck.
You just play 2 Soul Angel Beats. That's the hard counter. You just fucking nail them. You
Let them before they can set up. Yeah.
All deck and play your 2 Soul.
Oh man, it's
yeah.
just so gross.
This card's ridiculous.
The only way around it is like Obero combos can and by Obero we mean like on attack they can bounce back and twin drive, or any card with twin drive can side the 1/1s and try to trigger soul over them. Because if there's no battle, right, the card's not going to reverse.
Right.
Because they're going to back up over you, because this card's giving incidental power too. So I think that's a big reason why we'll see Konosuba like sort of challenge Dao at like a tournament level, since 8 standby will undoubtedly probably be the most popular because of its stability. And that's really the only set that can really do that right now. Like side for big numbers pretty consistently. But yeah, I don't know. This is I think I gotta give this one the S. This card's just too fucking broken.
Mm.
Just this is almost I think this is also on the bannable.
No, if data love gets restricted, I can see this being.
I don't know. I think this is
restricted in
probably
some way too,
not
maybe.
ban worthy. Like, knee jerk.
Notably,
Because the reason I just gave it an 8 and not an S is because like you kind of have to be running 8 standby for it to be like super super effective. Like you have
yeah,
to
it's not as
yeah.
effective in the book.
advantage of it.
The book builds. I know that from experience. It can be, especially if you're playing the mirror. I think the thing with this card in the mirror is the Shido Blinker removes the power it gives, and then if you level it down, your opponent doesn't get their scries. So 1 Shido plus my little Shido, which is like a normal thing to play, especially in 8 standby, to be able to use it, because like you're probably running the other Brainstorm or whatever, and you have like a tap down back row. 1 Shido, 1 my little Shido, that like 2-card combo removes this card from your opponent's turn and forces them to play it again. So you're like, the mirror is like playing this constant battle to keep your Toka 1-0 on board all game. But in any other matchup that's not the mirror, you just free farm your opponent like forever.
Yeah.
The only way to get around is to bounce it. You got to trigger wind, and not winding a 2/2 on your opponent's board. You have to wind this costless card to their hand. That just feels gross.
Which is really bad.
Yeah, it just feels terrible. So like it like inadvertently protects their Toka 2/2 that doesn't have Hand Encore, because it's a more valuable target to remove from the board if you can, because you won't deal damage with this card out. It's just like, it creates like this like toxic game state, I think, is the problem with the card. It's like in the standby deck specifically. I agree with Andy. It's definitely not as good with the book. It's intended to be played with the book.
I mean, it would be still good with the book, though.
It is, but you know, it's not.
It's better in standby.
Not maybe not oppressive.
Yeah, it's oppressive in standby. That's a good word. Yeah. Yeah, card's gross.
Yeah.
And we can move on.
Yeah, all right.
I think it's back to...
This is you, Carmen.
Oh, it's me? Oh, okay, we got
Yeah.
Stobichi. Beginning of your climax phase, choose one of your data or elemental characters for the turn. That character gains 3,000 power. Okay.
Dope.
Act ability. Discard the 3/3 event, the -1 soul event, 3 times. Rest this. Choose one of the following 2 actions and perform it. Look at 2 cards on the top of your library. Choose a card from among them. Put that card in your hand. Put the remaining cards in the waiting room. Or choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower characters. That character does not stand during your opponent's next stand phase. You play the event in a high count. You probably play 1 or 2 of this.
You can just cash them out at any time.
Filters out your event.
Wait a
Takes
second.
Any card.
Any
So-
card.
How does the power budgeting work? Andy brought this up when we talked about the One Otoka. One Otoka is a costless card
Yeah.
with arguably a stronger, more generalized effect.
Yep.
Where this is a 1/1, but because it has a soul trigger, and because it gives 3,000 power and has like a filter effect, it's 500 power. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know why the Toka's not costed, but
I think this card's pretty good still.
it's not, this card's not horrible. If you need to hit over things, this card is pretty relevant during your turn. 3k power is...
She can choose herself. 3,500.
She can get up to 3,500.
You could.
Broken.
Because that event, the nice thing though is that event card is one that like you kind of just want to see one copy of it. You know what I mean? And this lets you run the event in a high enough count that you'll always see it, but you can always just pitch extra copies.
Right.
Like, look at top 2 for anything's really nice. It can give you
That's
climax.
pretty
You get an event card. You can get a character. You can get another
Anything.
computer chip. That you can get another computer chip and discard it again. I guess you have to rest itself. And the fact that the arrest itself kind of like hurts.
Oh,
a
you
little
do have
bit.
to rest it. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still.
It's...
The fact that you have to rest itself actually really hurts it, I think.
Yeah, I mean...
3,000 is a lot of power.
Yeah,
3,000
even-
is a lot of power.
Even in like Origami Waifu, it's fine at best.
It's. I think it's just for decks that you run this event in. You like
Oh, yeah, for sure.
throw a copy of this in. You don't feel too bad about having it in. It can help you get reverses if you're playing the Toka level 1, I guess. Like, it pairs kind of okay with that. I don't think there's a like origami like... Oh, there is an origami mid-game combo. It's the Union. Okay, so this has good synergy with the Union. It's not the same not the same color, so it makes you have to be dual color at level 1, but if you're trying to resolve the combo later in the game, 3,000 power is a lot. If you're like for Origami Waifu or any deck where you need to build a lot of stock to play that event, you're probably playing the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because the Union's on stock soul, you might need that extra power. I'll give it the C+ for that. Makes the Union combo more playable, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the union will refund the stock for this, and the stock that it refunds is from waiting room, so you know it's clean, unlike a normal union.
Okay.
Oh, very clever.
So that makes it a little better.
Super cool.
Yeah, the big focus on waifu decks here.
I might throw together Origami Waifu, the other cards in my playset. I didn't even think about that till now. Seems fine. All right, it's back to you, Andy.
Hey, it's the same bench as before, but this time different people are on it. Yoshino feeding her rabbit bread. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay 1. If you do, choose this and another character and stand and swap them. Okay. And it is a bottom decker bomb. Seems like a good standby target. Being able to like just randomly trigger into standby, slap this baby in your back row, and then next turn.
Or if your opponent tries to. Well, no, you can stand and swap it from the back row to the front row.
Yeah, you can stand and swap into the front.
Yeah.
I think it's actually slightly anti-synergistic because you just sort of play it down and crash it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a this was the kind of
All right.
What is it?
All right.
Remember. Okay.
Okay, you'd run this even if it wasn't.
Well, yeah. I was saying the first effect doesn't matter.
The swap is just
the first effect doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's just just extra.
It does matter, but it's even good without it.
It can be the stand and swap.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at all.
It can be relevant, but
it's like what is it?
Slime that you run just because he's a stock change.
Well, but I mean, like you don't hurt to field that thing, Like,
no.
I wouldn't hurt to field this either. It's a 1/1 bottom decker bomb.
I suppose
in order to crash it.
It's true. I think we're moving. I said this when we talked about the Hakuro too. I think we're moving more towards the JP side, where the killers are going to end up being better, simply because they leave bodies and like you don't want to leave open lanes. But 1/1 bombs are the new standard, and this one has another effect for no reason, so it's more than fine.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a perfectly reasonable throw into any standby deck. It's just like, randomly. Oh, I just randomly triggered a standby. Isn't that convenient?
Yeah, assuming you're in the blue to support it, it seems perfectly fine.
Well, I don't know about the standby thing, right? Because like, if you're a standby
But you
deck,
pay out a stock on your opponent's turn, which is cool too. Oh, I triggered a standby as my last attack.
You just trigger. If you trigger standby on last attack, you can upgrade one of your other characters. Then, if you didn't upgrade one of your other characters, you just didn't sequence your attacks correctly.
No. Well, the thing though is, you trigger standby in your last attack, and then put this baby on the field, and then you can pay out the standby on your opponent's turn.
That's true. I'm not saying that the
it's
play
like an
is
emergency
bad.
Pay one out.
I'm saying that I guess I am saying it. I'm saying that if I triggered a standby, I don't think I'd ever put this out. I would just sculpt to have this in my hand as like a panic button if I somehow lost board with standby data live, which I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how you lose board.
It's just additional utility. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't feel bad
I really
about
need to pay out this climax.
Yeah,
early play.
It definitely makes the first line of text not useless, which is good because I think otherwise it would be useless. Because you'd never pre-field a bomb. That's just a bad play, right? Like a lot of the time, pretty much all the time. So it gives a reason for there to be this text on the card, which is cool. I'm just not going to give it any extra points for it because I don't think it's like a common enough line.
Good synergy with my little Shido. You just tap this down every turn. You don't give a shit. Stand and swap, baby.
Run it to the front row when you need it. That's a thing
God.
you can.
I think that's too spicy. I think it's too spicy for me. Tapping down the 1/1. It is cool insurance though. It's like again, I think 1/1 bombs are what we talked about this in Slime. This is just the new standard, right?
Yeah.
Everything's a 1/1 bomb.
Even Adventure Time's got it.
Oh, do they? They do.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, yeah. Wow, Adventure Time S tier set. Can't wait to review that one. Brian, I think this is you.
All right, it's a.
Oh, okay. Don't waste your time.
3,500 power backup.
Yeah, 35. It's fine.
it's a
Yeah,
big
I don't even
backup
want
if
to
you-
rate it. It's like, you need it. You got it.
big backup if you need it.
I feel like the free fresh counter is like just too good. Because it's like also a three stock out.
Yeah.
So like you
3500s can really get people though, but I
that's
feel
true,
like
yeah.
3500s are probably better if you're not going so heavy into standby, right? Like if you're just kind of like playing standby and it's like, oh, well, I probably should be able to back something up here, or like, I'm not going heavy into power pump, but I want to be able to defend my early play. 3500 seem really nice, but if you're building specifically with the intent to set up a
board.
strong 2 board and just sit on it, like you're already playing like the back row Toka or like
Yeah.
other
Your 2K
power pump
should get you
effects.
there that you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
And then if you want to pay stock, you have the free fresh, right? So
maybe this would be better in a build like, I don't know, the Yoshino wall combo or something.
something like that, yeah.
Where it doesn't get very big, but you kind of want to defend it.
That thing has stand and swap too. All the Yoshinos have stand and swap.
They all run away. That's
Yeah,
their thing. Yeah.
that is her thing. All right,
Cool.
Brian, you can just read this one.
All right. 2/1 origami on attack. Level 3 killer gets 6,000 power. On attack, pay 1 twin drive.
Twin drive, it's
Sure.
early play.
Twin drive early play killer.
It's a possible way to pay 2
Wow,
stock
pretty cog.
on play.
Look at
Like-
Bushira taking these normal profiles and just slapping decent effects on them.
Yeah, that's how you make a good card. Card's fine. Card's
yeah,
good.
It's solid.
Yeah, I give it a
Oh,
B plus
sorry,
for
Ron
twin drive.
Blocks.
B plus is pretty dumb. Or like just twin drive's really stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better than the I feel like all these 2-1s are competing with the Remy clone. That's
The
like
one-
power
The,
crept
event- the
Remy
event
clone.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
You're playing My Little Shido in every deck, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so this probably is a little better maybe then, right? Like, well, no, because like you level their. Hold on. I think I'd rather have an incidental twin driver than like
Yeah,
power pump
yeah,
somewhere else.
that's why I
maybe.
like
I
it
don't
more.
know. I guess it just really depends on what you're trying to
it
do.
depends on the build, yeah.
It lets you pay 2 stock without feeling bad about it, because like say you have a climax on your second one, you play this down, pay 1, and then you twin drive first attack, pay the other one out. I like that line. Because it's like an aggressive way to clean your stock. But it's fine. Good card. Speaking of good cards,
Yep, we got Toka.
Yep.
Climbing the hill. For each of your other date or elemental characters, 1,000 power. Okay, it's just 10-5 early play. And when it gets the reverse, you get to look at 2 cards from top of your deck and put them back in any order. This is the card we talked about earlier.
best
I
standby
don't want
target.
to talk about it. Carmen, you talk about it.
The best standby target. So weirdly, there's the other 2/2, the Kermi, that's like meant for you to put in your Kermi waifu deck. In the decks that play like X standby, the Kermi is probably better just because it has hand on core, and like the thing about hand on core is like against the My Little Shido event, if you're playing into 8 standby decks when you yourself are not 8 standby, hand on core outs the My Little Shido event. You just like trade cards with each other. Or like your opponent plays the event and rests their character and you ditch a card and nothing happens. Which is like good for those decks. But in the 8 standby deck, the top check 2 rearrange is just really dumb when you stack it with the what is it? The fucking the Toka back row, the 1/0 Toka back row. Because even if your opponent plays around it and they attack into this thing last, you get to scry and then top check 2 rearrange, so you get to like before you go into your turn, choose your draw out of a possible 3 cards, and then move any climax that you do not want to draw back to the top of your deck so that you can immediately brainstorm or otherwise mill it or draw it with one of your other effects, or like clock into it.
Right.
It's just like, it gives you a lot more deck control than you think. I mean, like, just because it's on both turns. Like, on your turn, it's not that great. All it lets you do is on your last attack, move a climax that's maybe in position 1 to position 2, which is like always better that you cancel on 2, unless you're like trying to scum like perfect clock compression or something. Just because like You don't want to cancel on one. You want to try to cancel on as exact damage as you can, just so that your spacing has a better chance to be good. But yeah, card's stupid as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, this not having Encore isn't that big a deal anyway. You can protect it with the other stupid 1-0 back row Toka. You can make it big. You've got backups. You've got ways.
And like I said, the 1-0
feel like
Toka
if
back
people
row
are-
shrouds this because they go for that when they're trying to remove shit, especially in the
People
mirror.
are really getting over. People probably aren't getting over your 10-5s anymore, almost, right? Like, I mean, if they are, they're probably like bottom deck bombing it or like ramping out this like. Ramping out's not the right word. Like ramping up a level 3 to really high powers and saying you can't back up in the first place.
Or they have some sort of
I
like
don't know.
directed level 2 hate, which I don't think English has any of yet.
I mean, you're running 8 standby. If they kill this, just stand by another one.
That's the disgusting part.
Yeah.
Just, suck it up.
In 8 standby, card is great. Like, I don't want to give this. I can't give a 2/2 an A. It's a B plus. Outside of 8 standby, I wouldn't try to play this one. Every time I've tried to play it in X standby, it ends up burning me and not doing enough. It's best when you're like sacking into multiples and like forcing your opponent to give you the scribe plus top check 2 rearrange multiple times per turn.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
The hand encore is a lot better when you're not running 8 standbys. Because like typically you're only then running like 2 or 3 of it because you don't have the slots. So it's the fact that like being able to get 2 is like basically impossible. So the 1/2/2 is better, but other than that, like that's not even a drawback to this card. That's just a thing in the set that you can choose to do. Why do you even have choices? Most sets only just have one standby target. What the fuck? All right. Brian, this is you.
All right. We've got Bath Time Origami. Level 0, 1,000 power. When you play a climax to your climax zone, choose 2 characters, and they get 500 power each. Pay 1, rest this, look at top 2. Choose a level 1 or higher card from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and discard the other.
Pericolo from JoJo.
Yep. This one grabs My Little Shido, though.
Oh, god damn it. It does. Still, it's only the top 2 cards. That being
It's
said,
a raw plus, though, right?
I mean, there's got to be a
Raw
level
plus?
1 or higher, but it does. It hits. I don't like that.
I
It's
just
1 or
like the
level 1 or
fact it's a
higher.
raw plus, dude. Like, run this over Brainstorm. Get your raw plus.
It's a raw plus
If you reveal a level 1 or higher, can't grab
Yeah.
level 0s or climax it.
and with
So.
the climaxes too, yeah.
Yeah, high chance. I feel like it's like has to be greater than 50% chance that this.
Okay,
works.
if it's a coin flip for top card, right, then it'd be a 75% chance, right?
What?
Because you're flipping 2 coins.
No.
You'd have to flip 2 tails. That's a
No, because you
25%
can
chance.
know the No, because you can know the distribution. Like you can know the ratios of cards in your deck.
Okay, well, we're just talking about coin flips. You know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're
the top
saying,
2
but
cards
it's
would be
not a
like,
coin flip.
You make your little like Puttin square or whatever, right? It's basically a Puttin square.
Okay,
And we're going into biology now.
I don't like it. D minus.
So what? Being a level 1 or higher is recessive trait.
Recessive. Yeah, I don't like that it can only grab level 1 or higher. Being able to grab the event, you know what?
Yeah,
oh wait, being able to grab the event gives it a middle of the road D.
Yeah, it grabs the. I assume you play this to grab the chip event for origami is what it's supposed to do, but
Probably.
I like the raw plus. Maybe combine it with something that lets you top check more consistently.
I mean, we've
You know
seen
what I mean?
most
Like
of the
consistent top
cards.
check rules. Yeah.
We don't have way to. The only way to move a card would be the surveil at every level. The other ones are all just top check rearrange. You can't actually get rid of a card.
But here's the thing: you choose what turn to go for it, right? You top check rearrange, and you say, "Oh,
I don't know.
Not damage this
I don't
turn.
like the idea of my plussing engine requiring me to play an additional card to be a plussing engine. It just kind of feels bad to me. It'd be like, rather just run a brainstorm. compress. Seems kind of.
Go on to the next card.
Alrighty.
Okay, so we got this Toka, level 0. Place from hand to stage. Choose one of the other data or elemental characters until the next end of opponent's turn. That character gains 1500 power. So 1500 power cross turn.
1500 cross
What?
turn on play.
I don't understand why you would play this over the 1-0 back.
You do just play the 1-0, yeah. The 1-0 is really
Because
good.
It's gonna pump power on your turn though too. Help you get over something.
Yeah, but you have the brainstorm to pump on your turn, right?
Oh, you know what deck I'm liking this in? Book standby. Get my reverse and be beefy on the way back.
I think this is supposed to help your level 1 combo wall and Toka wipe.
Yeah, okay. So it gives you like 2 lanes of 8Ks if you're only going to resolve 2. Because, like, let's be real. This card has to attack to be worth running. You have to crash this in. This can't be a card.
It doesn't just sit in back row, yeah.
This can't be. Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, this isn't even a card that I would say is good enough to be like, I slam this in the back row and it just gets its effect and I'll cash it in later. Because, like, I don't even think it's good enough for that. Like, this card has to crash. This has to generate a stock. I think it's a. I agree with Brian. I think the idea is cool, but I think it's too duplicative. But, you know, if you're running Toka Waifu, probably don't have enough cards. You probably have to run one of this.
You play like 2 copies of it, maybe.
1 or 2 copies of it, maybe.
It's not even a bad card though. It's perfect.
It's fine.
But by data live standards, it's
by data live standards, it's bad. But I mean,
it's on the weaker end, yeah.
Let's check out this next Toka card. She's in a car. She's car sick. She's gonna puke out that window in a second.
No, she's just mad. She's pouty.
No, she's holding in barf.
She's not.
It's the marker under this.
She does eat a lot.
Power. Yeah. When you play it from hand, reveal top card. If it's a data or elemental, I'll put it under this as a marker. It's 4,000 power, but not level 1.
So it's a Futaba, but it doesn't get up to level 1.
So I played a lot of this and a lot of the runner. I think the runner might be better.
The Yoshino runner?
Yeah. These, like, Futabas always do have value later in the game. They're like 5-card brainstorms, and, like, they might help you compress an additional card. But the lack of a level just feels bad. The fact that your opponent can bomb it feels bad.
The fact that Futabas are like the best of both worlds make them better.
Yeah, if I were going to play this, if I was going to play this card, I'd just straight play a 4K because this doesn't get the level.
I don't know. I feel like a marker 4K is still better, right?
I mean, board compression, sure.
Just because it has value later on.
Yeah.
I still think it's fine as a +0. I give it like a C+. I really like the marker cheesing. That's just like a personal preference, like later on in the game. But just for like an extra card of compression and stuff. But whatever. It's just a better shitter later, I guess. That's all it is. It's always May. You don't have to marker. All right, Brian. You.
Okay, we've got this level 0 Yoshino. On play, choose one of your opponent's level 1 or lower characters, and that character cannot move to another slot until the end of your opponent's next turn. So a 1-turn anti-runner for anything.
Level 1 or lower.
Level 1 or lower, yeah.
Level 1 or lower only. I think that completely that actually completely kills it, I think.
That does. The use case for it would be like
it's still a runner killer.
It's a runner killer, but this one, even unlike the Kazuma that we fought about,
level 1 or lower characters.
Yeah.
So like you can stop them from running out of the way of your reverse combo.
But you can't stop them from standbying something, which I thought that's like the only upside of the Kazuma.
What it stops? Motherfucking mobility gear. Get wrecked, Aaron.
It does.
You could also just flicker Aaron.
Well,
you can
it's
still
not flickering Aaron. You could gear your character away to an open spot. You can't gear. Use this effect. You can't gear that row.
Well, what if they have to fill their field?
You can gear, but you can't move your character.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the use case you'd want this card for is to hit like a level 2 standby target.
But you can't.
And you can't. Yeah, exactly.
The Kazuma could at least do that.
I think the fact that you can either kill a runner or stop mobility gear makes it like pretty solid. I don't think it's a D. I think it's like a perfectly reasonable tech card, probably.
I don't know. I feel like the My Little Shido and the My Little Shido and the actual Shido card do enough to just like shit on AOT. The AOT.
That's just Aaron. That's just Aaron. This can stop anything from gearing, or just normal runners.
I mean,
not
sure.
Not after Armin. Not after Armin.
Your opponent can just gear on their turn. Like, if you level down, if you're telling me you can't hit over AOT's fucking 5k, like, I don't know, play better level ones.
Over it, it's that they can't actually move out of your way with gear.
I mean, sure, but like they can also just use their gears later. So like, I don't know. I'm not too worried about my opponent like
you're playing like an
having one card. I guess, but like
the green combo or something. If I was running the green combo, I'd maybe run this.
The green combo
on reverse.
Yeah, green combo's on reverse. It doesn't have the pseudo whatever battle opponent this becomes first. Yeah, I guess it's the green combo, but I don't know. I would just like chalk myself up to not being able to resolve it in that matchup before I put a copy of this in. I really hate these. I think these are too.
The fact that it's just a runner killer, though, and it's just a runner killer in general. That's like.
Yeah, I just like don't.
And like it makes them not able to like. You force them to like have to maybe play over one of their characters going into their level 1 turn, maybe, right? You know what I mean? Like maybe you have to force them to minus if they want to get their combo off. You can get creative with it.
I don't know. I think this is way too directed and way too hyper specific to ever worth considering a single slot, I think. Yeah, but that's just me.
Yeah, the level 1 and lower is a little rough.
I think it's just way too hyper specific. Even the Cosma is better than this. Like, because it can hit
I think it's just broad enough that it can be techable.
I don't know. I think there are just too many good cards to warrant a card specific as this. I think
there are a lot of good cards in Data Live.
That's it. I'm not disagreeing that it could be strong in this scenario.
Yeah, I get. But
it's just I just don't think it's I don't know. I think it's just a preference thing. I think these directed hyper-specific effects are just, I don't know. They're cute. Yoshino's cute.
Dude, look at that hat. That hat slaps, dude.
It is a big hair bag hat. With the flower on it. That bunny creeps me out, man. All right, next card.
It's got an eye patch, though.
Is this me? I get the Toka card? Okay. When this card is placed from hand to stage, if you have another data elemental character, you're playing the fucking game until the end of your next end of your opponent's turn. This gains 2,000 power, and the following ability: the character opposite this cannot side attack. This card was the go-to auxiliary card in like Book X in testing. The standby deck didn't have space for it, but you probably have space for it in the decks where you aren't running the standby. It forces your opponent to front you, so that you can get a like scry off your Toka back row is like the idea that what they want you to do with it. But it's just a 6/5 your opponent has to front into.
I wish you could give the power and effect somewhere else. Like 6/5 that they have to front into is like kind of whatever.
I think it's fine when combined with the other cards.
Yeah.
It's definitely a card that you only play if you're playing like the Toka back row, like maybe the Toka brainstorm.
Yeah, like, there's times where you could like force your opponent to have to like have to swing into your free fresh counter or something maybe. But like even in that case, they could just swing at this lane last. I guess it still makes it difficult for them.
It's like an auxiliary level 1 for the book combo, where like the one coach we looked at that's like a pay 2 when it dies. That like also swings in at 6/5, but only on attack. That was like an auxiliary level 1 for choice.
For the choice combo,
yeah. This is just like it's a level 1 you just run 2 of. If you don't hit your combo, it's big, and your opponent's got to try to kill it. And you can get them with a backup or whatever.
I feel like I'd rather run the Kurumi that lets you just surveil on play, on attack, on death.
I mean, maybe you're not in enough red to run
I suppose. Yeah.
red at level 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I agree with Brian.
I think it depends on like what colors you're in and how desperately you want to hold board. But I think if you're in blue and you are interested in holding board, I think this card is a perfectly fine include, and I think it's pretty good.
It just gives you a third lane of 6/5 alongside your book combo with like 1 token on the back. It just forces your opponent to crest 8/5 or better in every lane to stop you from damage scrying with one counter. It doesn't give them a weak lane to try to stop you from getting the maximum amount of value from your damage scry, which I think is like fine if you are like going all in on the book, and like the book combo's really fucking good, so it's a good card to support that, I guess. It's just like extra copies of your Toka that don't have to combo to have the field ability.
I don't know. I don't feel like I would play this, even in a Toka build.
I think it depends what you're trying to do.
I'd rather just concede the 1 lane.
If you were playing the Toka, I'll put it this way: if you're going to play the book combo, Andy, would you go for the whole board field package, or would you just play the book combo as the book combo and call it a day? Because I think that if the answer to that question is yes, and you have the space, you might try to run like 1 or 2 of this. But the answer is no, you definitely don't run this at all. If you don't give a shit and you're just saying,
I guess, yeah, I see what you mean. Like if you want to just run the 1/0 scryer in the back row, this does let you get the most value off it. But if you're not running the scryer, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I don't value the scryer as high in non-standby builds.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, it truly does not work as good as it does there anywhere else. It is unfortunate, but I think if it did work as well, why
wouldn't I just run an extra copy of the scryer though? You know what I mean? Like I can put the scryer in the front row and just sandbag with it.
You can.
You can. 1500 power still with the scry.
It's to stop them from. So the thing with the scryer and how it ends up playing out is like if your opponent can get the first attack off without triggering your scry, you feel really bad. You have to get it on the first lane for it to be as effective as it can be.
You know, that is true. Like when I was playing against Data Live in the Anime Evo, that's always what I try to do. I played against it like 3 times or something. It was like that's what I was trying to do. It's like I'm gonna try to like side you on the first lane so I can like get
possibly get
damage,
something, right?
And then on the second attack, I'm gonna I'll have to crash into you. Time,
you like slam climax
2 rows of damage still.
Like slam climax side of level 1 so that you can like maybe crash out the other 2 lanes and they only cancel once instead of canceling twice. Because because it's a lot more likely they cancel twice if they get the scry on the first lane.
Oh
so,
yeah,
I think
I was trying to play around that all day, and I guess that would make that you wouldn't be able to play around it then.
Yeah, into the mirror, all these like cards to make the costless version of like the 1/0 scryer work are rough, and like in a meta where you're just playing the mirror all the time, which I hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope that I hope that Adventure Time and Mob are like strong enough to get people to even try to play them instead of just playing DAO, because DAO's such a popular anime and it's going to be such a strong
people are always
set.
gonna. Not everyone's you, Carmen.
Well, that's the thing. They don't have to be me. They can just love Data Live, like Brandon. Like yeah, right. It's just like, that's the worst part.
It's not even that though. It's just like I guess what I'm saying is like even like not every competitive player is going to play DAO. There's reasons to play other sets too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean there's plenty of reasons to play like Konosuba or whatever. Adventure Time for sure. Set looks really good. So yeah, I guess. All right, let's wrap it up here. We got the event, and after this we got the promo.
Oh boy, event cards. Look at all that. Oh my god, imagine this fucking card in English. Look at all these fucking...
Yeah, the flavor text.
You want to know what this card's name
is? What are they going to do?
This card's name is Yikes.
Is it actually?
Yeah, Yikes.
Oh, it's actually called Yikes.
Yeah, this is the girl, at the end, and then she says, like...
she's like
so
yikes.
disgusting.
Yeah.
So disgusting. Yikes. The one in the
Oh my
center.
God.
That's funny.
Yeah. So this is card destruction. +1.
Discard your entire hand of waiting room. Draw X cards. X is that number +1.
Or like morphing jar.
It's good that well.
Yeah, so I mean, considering you played the event from
The
hand,
fact that it's +1, it makes it not like card destruction. That card destruction's a raw minus. This actually gives you, this breaks even for you, which I really, really like about it. This reminds me of the Card Captor Sakura combo in English exclusive, the one that's like on an attack, like discard your hand, draw that many, or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I actually really like this as an event you can tutor.
But you can't.
You can't tutor it.
Or not tutor, but like I don't like you can fish for. You have ways to get into events with Data Live. Everything
You
hits
do,
on
yeah.
right.
You can just grab it with Arisu, honestly. That's like more than enough.
I don't know. That's like maybe fine. That's maybe fine.
It's definitely really funny.
It's very funny.
Into a refresh.
Didn't they just print this card for Magic?
Of shit in my hand. I'll discard, draw the rest of the cards in my deck, shuffle the rest back. That could be useful.
They just printed this card in MTG, but it's also a land.
Huh?
You didn't see that?
Oh, is that like a new reveal?
Yeah, they released this card where it's like the red card. You like put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and you draw that many cards +1.
Well, I mean, they've been printing those on Chandras for years. But,
But
you gotta think, Magic's a different game than Weiss. Weiss you can plus infinitely.
Yeah,
Magic,
I'd say Magic that'd be much stronger, but this is
in Magic it'd be weaker.
You think so?
I guess it depends on the cost of it.
That's true. Well, now we're talking about something different. I guess this effect, though, I think is more generalized. You could,
but yeah,
you could apply it to anything.
I feel like, in Data Live, I feel like you have enough ways with other cards to get into whatever card you're looking for, rather than just throwing your whole hand away and redrawing it. Like if your hand's bad, you can just filter out of it with like the Cowgirl or something.
Yeah, you have too much filter.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to play this card.
Unfortunate. This is such a cool
as funny as it is. Yeah.
I think it's more funny than cool. It's like haha hilarious. I love playing Morphing Jar or something like very cool, but it only affects me because that's how Weiss works. Why would you affect your opponent's hand? It's very funny. I give it a meme.
It is meme.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
Yeah.
Like it's probably like a C- C tier card.
Yeah, there has to be some use for this card. This is.
If you're just running like 20 events and you have no way to get into them, you like rip your whole hand again.
Fucking combo deck where you just like add it. I don't know. There has to be some way to abuse this. There has to be.
We looked at every card, Andy.
Standard.
This is the
last
card.
Banned in standard.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, everything. You know what else is banned in standard? The fucking cannon that like goes to stock, like from Bang Dream. Like the weirdest shit in that format is like restricted or banned.
That's not a real format.
Yeah, it's fake. All right, let's run through these promos real quick. I'll read them off. Lightning round. This card is placed your hand to stage. You may return two characters your waiting room to your deck. Shuffle your deck. If so, you can side attack without soul penalty. And on attack, give one of your data elemental characters 1500 power. Real quick.
Solid.
Yeah, real quick before we rate this, Japan plays a lot of this card in 8 standby as a yellow fix. I guess specifically because they have no way to select from grave very easily. And they don't like running a lot of the coterie or something like that, or like in addition to the coterie, you can do the Yuki thing. You put the cards back in your deck, and you like can brainstorm for them.
Start them out from there, yeah.
Yeah, cards.
I almost
super solid.
Want to give it an A. It's like
pretty good.
That's like rock solid.
1500 power.
I think that's the only time I've ever seen like a side attack for free card and actually liked it.
Yeah, it's also like good in the mirror. Solid. It's really good in the mirror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're running it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to side. Yeah, it's really good. In fact, for that, because of how the meta will unfortunately probably be, because I'm a doomer, I'll give it the B+ for that. If there was one promo they get on, you got to get this Nike Kurumi. Good art is a plus. All right, coterie 1/1. When another of your date or elemental characters attacks for the turn, this gains plus X power. X equals the number of your other characters with date or elemental times 500. So it's possible 8K, and it's got clock encore. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it.
It's like bad level 1 standby target.
Yeah, it's just like a straight D. Throw some D's on that. Don't do that. That's your sister. All right, next card. When this is placed from hand to the stage, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your library. Choose one of them, put it in your hand, put the rest in the waiting room. When this attacks, choose one of your other date or elemental characters until the next end of your opponent's turn. That character gains plus X power. X equals the number of other date or elementals. So 2,000 cross turn. That's a top check 3, add 1. Eiki Yoshino.
The rabbit's face down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you want to play this with like
Oh
the
my
standard
God!
swap and exile finisher.
This is hilarious.
Do you run this?
I mean, maybe not even. I'm just trying to make a case for it.
Yeah. 2,000 power cross turn.
cross
It's a
turn.
Shima Cry, but the power is cross
Plays
turn.
Stage from hand. Look at 3 cards. Choose one. Top check 3 is nice. What? Level 3?
Yeah, it's a level 3.
Art's
It's-
funny.
C minus. C minus, D plus, somewhere in that range.
Yep, agreed.
I got this Toka. She's sad. She's holding on to I think it's the big hot dog. When this is placed from hand to stage, choose a character in your opponent's front row, and that character gains 1,000 power to the next end of your opponent's turn. So drawback. Whoa, watch out. On attack gains plus X number of your opponent's characters 1,000. Oh, I hate it. I hate everything about it. Big fat F.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that bad, but it's not. It's not.
No,
good.
it's pretty bad, dude.
It's not good.
Like-
Just play a normal early play killer, like the ones that get 6,000 and go to 13,500.
But
I
this
mean-
kills everything.
Isn't the best version of this card like the big titty Sugu from Sword Art, and like that card has like basically never been printed again?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is just worse. All right, Origami. I think this card's okay. This is played from hand to stage. Look at top 2. Put them back in the of your opponent's library. Put them back in the original order. Cannot move them. Top 2 of your opponent's library. Place from hand to stage. If there's one or fewer characters in your opponent's front row, choose a cost 0 lower character in your opponent's front row, and bottom deck it. So this is like a quote unquote anti-runner that you could maybe, if your opponent lost all their other lanes at level 1, you could get an additional effect. Top 2 of your opponent's deck that you can't rearrange is I don't know why they print this.
I don't think this set does enough, and like it can't really take advantage of that.
No, it can't.
Well, you can combine it with the one token that's like, oh, on cancel, go to stock.
Yeah, sure.
You can, sure.
But
It's stretching it a little bit. It's
I don't know if I'd run this
it's
card.
fine.
Why did they print cards that have this effect that don't let you rearrange them? I feel like in JP that's fine.
Is there actually an effect that lets you rearrange?
Yeah,
your
dude,
top
Summer
cards?
Pockets
I don't
has
think
it.
so.
Summer
I
Pockets has
remember
that
that
card.
card, yeah.
Yeah, Brian has nightmares about that card. And it's a repeatable effect. It's an act. You get to do it every turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is just like an on play, and it's like weak as shit, and has like almost useless
good
second
enough.
ability. Yeah,
I love looking at opponent's top
Yeah, I
cards.
mean, information is good. That's the only reason I'm giving it a C, but it's maybe even a C minus. But
Good thing she's wearing white because probably a lot of pigeon shit on her. She's been standing there that long to have them land on her.
yeah. This is when she's
It's ironic
waiting
because
for
this
Cheeto
card's
to show
also
up.
shit. It's a D.
All right, so Doomer time. We've seen the whole set. We've played an Anime Evo.
the end is not.
Yeah. How scared are we?
It'll be strong for sure.
I'm not very. It'll be.
I
You're
don't
not-
think-
you think you'll be fine. Are you still in the denial stage?
not-
I've passed on. I'm in acceptance.
I don't know. Like when I played against it, it was like the 8 standby deck felt like it had holes. You know what I mean? Like if they're getting their god board early, that means they're triggering a lot of standbys and like
Which means they're out. Yeah.
you can punish them early for it. Like the games I was able to win against 8 standby,
But
were
they pay
ones
and mill
where,
out so well. Like
Like you gotta really like hold. You gotta hold your climaxes and like see how
slam
they-
them constantly.
Mhm.
But then when you're slamming them constantly, then you're letting them scry. Like my big thing
You
again.
gotta just front load your damage.
Yeah.
You can't play the long game with them. The
Well-
longer the game goes on, they're gonna run you out of resources.
My counterpoint to that is I think that with correct play and as the 8 standby builds get more refined, you can get through your first deck like disgustingly fast with Data Live because of the Shido, because of Chiuri. Like because with the RSU going through 2 cards, and you play one of those every single turn, even in the 8 standby deck. Like,
I suppose, but maybe it seems like you're hamstringing yourself on resources. Then, like, you're playing this stuff and like not attacking with it. You're standbying stuff out that can't attack that turn. Like, how are you building up the stock? Like, okay, you can like go through your whole deck, but then you're maybe refreshing with like nothing. You have your field, but then nothing else. Like,
well, I think the field in Data Live is what's so strong.
well,
Like,
it is, but you still need other resources to play too. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hole you can exploit. If it's like, yeah, they set up their big god board, but then if they're out of hand, they're out of stock. Like,
I don't think they'll ever be out of stock. Like a lot, like
if you have to emergency mill through your whole first deck like that, you might be.
maybe, but I don't think they're going to be triggering that much standby. I feel like on first deck they'll be playing it a lot because of the Toka brainstorm, right? Like, they want to get that brainstorm value
if they can, yeah.
If they can, like, they're probably playing 3 or 4 of it.
It just I don't know. It felt kind of like a little bit of a race. Like, you gotta have to like get your shots in while you can. You gotta like
fast,
front load your aggression.
Yeah.
While you can try to exploit the
but even
first deck randomness.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like,
you can't let them set up.
I agree with you. I just think that, like, when you're playing like that, you're already on the struggle bus, I think. Like, and I think that a deck existing... I
think enough counterplay exists to it, though, too. Like, you can choose to beat that.
I think that's true for the JP meta.
In English, too.
Oh, well, that's the... I don't. I think that's where we're going to disagree. I don't think
Really?
English can handle it. Yeah, I don't think they have the tools that are good enough. They have similar tools, but they don't have tools of the same power level yet.
I don't know. I think there's decks that really give them a run for it. Like, I think AOT.
AOT, yeah. AOT is one of... I think wind is the least important part of the deck. I think that that cues into it. I think that the fact that AOT can play around the blink and the level down in the same way that Saikano does, by when your opponent tries to blink your character with pop back, you just throw it in the back row, because they're already setting that up anyway. And then they still have an open lane for them to gear into the other lane. So they can still gear around. And then AOT has arbitrarily high power scaling on their turn, so they can get over lanes and stuff. Yeah, it's like, and then the second they hit level 2, the level down event stops working because of hexproof.
Right.
An entire side of the board gets locked off. So the AOT list will change a little.
You can hit over their field on the way. It's not like AOT falling with walls.
No, AOT will change a little bit to react to Data Live, where you'll probably go back to Mikasa healer change.
Like run both changes.
Yeah, and then you'll probably you'll run probably both changers. You'll probably run 2 of that, and then you'll probably play Sasha 100% of the time, so that you have a chance to kill the Toka back row for free. Just because the chance of that happening is too good. And you run a lot of level 1s or higher in AOT anyway. You're typically only on 15 or 16 zeros. So, like, you have a pretty high chance to hit level 1 or higher. Hitting level, like, 3 or whatever, like, the God hit is, like, sort of whatever. And then it'll always be good against decks like Konosuba, decks that have other things in back row. So, like...
I guess let's talk about other decks, though, too. Like, AOT,
AOT will do fine. Just because of the way it works. Konosuba will be fine.
Konosuba probably would be fine, I'd imagine.
You won't be playing Union, that's for damn sure. You'll be playing Obero.
Fate, right? Fate can play a super grindy game, and
they want to crash anyway.
Rider combos, like, probably really effective there. I guess they can level you down, but they're having to, like, really
they can flicker you. They can flicker you.
Yeah, flickering the ride is really rough.
Yeah.
Not a way to stop that.
No.
Hexproof.
No.
Not an easy way, at least. There might be.
You can run. I think Fate definitely runs its own flicker against Data Live to remove the spot power from Toka, in hopes of winning lanes probably at the end game. As a tech, you definitely cut Caster, because you're never getting a reverse against Data Live in any lane by level 3. Just gross. But But I think that Fate's normal game plan of like, I'm just going to crash and compress really hard and pray that I don't eat a random chunk of 4. Because as long as I'm taking 4 and canceling 3s and 4s like I should be, I'm fine. The only problem is that Fate compresses with stock, and Dal just says, I stock swap you, and God forbid you have low cards in deck, I shove free cards back in. Like, you know, like, so that can be pretty bad for Fate.
I think Sunshine probably can match up fine. I guess this is.
I disagree there.
I was gonna say this goes back to what you and me were talking
Yeah,
about with like
Sunshine.
Slime versus Sunshine. I think some testing needs to be done there, but I think Sunshine might. I think there's a they might be able to tramp on the gas hard enough to go under standbys.
You might have
strategy.
You might have to switch to Ruby level 1. As disgusting as that sounds, because
Ruby level 1 lets
you would have to side. Yeah, you would become a true, because like Sunshine's always been an aggro deck. Like I think probably the best like aggressive Weiss Schwarz deck in the English meta.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was getting at. Though.
All of them are aggressive.
It's able to play an aggressive strategy against this defensive deck.
Right.
Yeah, I think you definitely go full Ruby because it makes the deck like
you
hyper consistent,
and you can side out their scry board.
Running like it's the deck practically mono yellow removes all inconsistency going into your level 1, and then at level 1 you get to side the 1/1s and possibly side the level 2s. And then when the rubies die, you get to, like, if you stay at level 1, pop them back to your hand if you want, so that you can keep going, and you don't even feel bad, and it lets you keep siding. So Sunshine, if they continue to, like, be relevant, which, I don't know, that's a discussion for another time, probably after all the stuff comes out and we're about to go back to tournaments, we'll have to do another big meta deep dive.
Yeah.
To, like, sort of figure out where everything's going to be. But Sunshine definitely, I think, has to start playing Ruby going forward after Data Live if they want to do anything. Because we can talk about these other builds of Data Live being great, because they will be, but I think that everyone is going to be playing 8 standby.
There's going to be a lot of change that happens with Data Live, you know what I mean? I feel like...
yeah, for sure.
You know, we compared it like the what's it called? Shido event to maybe something like Aaron before. I don't know, just saying it was like a big meta impacting card that like really everybody's going to have to be aware of and play around, right?
Yeah, Data Live's definitely going to be a deck building consideration going forward.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can't overinvest in board because my little Shido exists. Thankfully, for Sunshine's favor, you're definitely running 4 Conan in that meta too, and running Ruby combo at level 1 really opens up your deck in terms of what you can run, because like, you know, you're just running a bunch of zeros. You're running
Sunshine gets pretty big too. Like they can probably hit over some stuff, and your Yo burns still go off before they get scry and stuff.
Yeah, you would force your opponent to back up, and Yo would burn before scry went off. I think those are that and the Ruby combo. Do they have an
anti-change counter? Does
no
Dal have an anti-change counter?
An anti-change counter? Yeah, they have the Yoshino, the one that sends to clock, which is, I told you, it's like the...
Oh, it's good against Sunshine. Yeah.
It's like Sunshine's Sunshine's worst nightmare, right? Like, I think that if Sunshine starts putting the pressure on Dal,
they can tech that.
Dal will just tech that and just go, well, Sunshine loses the game. They get 1 turn of Yo, and then they lose their Yo, and they lose their clock condition, which is like super feels bad. So I don't know. I know that I was actually
clock another Rico.
I know that even Patrick is pretty down on Sunshine going forward. It's pretty unfortunate. The Sunshine Master.
Patrick's down on it? No.
Yeah.
Say it ain't so. Really?
Where everybody's in the, like I said, man, we're all in the depression phase, man. It's like we're in like what is it? It's like denial, like depression, bargaining. Like most people are somewhere between denial and bargaining. I'm just like full on doomer. I'm acceptance where it's over. If this set comes over unchanged and mob, I think it literally hinges all on mob and Adventure Time. I think that if Mob and Adventure Time don't really bring the fire, and thankfully with the reveals, they have been. I think we'll be fine on that front.
So far, yeah.
People are going to get really angry really quick. Because like I keep saying, people keep complaining. People have been complaining about Aaron and AOT forever. But I don't think they've ever seen something that will be this dumb.
It's degenerate.
Yeah, and I think that's the word, right? Degenerate. Like, was AOT as degenerate as this? 8 standby Dal? I don't think so.
They both. I don't. Standby Dal feels very, very bad to play. It's one of those feel bad decks to play into, just like AOT can feel.
Yeah. Well, at least
it definitely forces you. Like, you don't get to run your game plan the way you want to run it.
Mm-hmm,
you kind of have to say, "Well, I'm going to slam climaxes and beat the shit out of you." You know what I mean?
Well,
before you set up.
But here's the thing with Dal that's a little different. Beating Dal on board has a very clear thing you need to do. I need to scale over my opponent's board in power somehow. How you do that and still, hold hand and hold resources, I don't know. But I think people will let it slide a lot longer because it doesn't feel as bully at the beginning.
There's interaction with it. You can tech to give more power. You can tech to hit over. You can, and the fact that it doesn't have
But you can't tech to stop Aaron, right? That's the difference, right? That's what I was trying to say.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, you can't tech to... Well, what can tech to stop Aaron from bouncing? It's fucking Data Life.
Yeah.
You could just play Shido. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just... I'm worried. I'm worried. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I'm very concerned.
We'll have to re-examine later once we see Adventure Time and Mob for sure, though.
I think once the the community, like, the big players, start refining their decks and updating them, like people start figuring out the new AOT, the new Konosuba, the new Love Live, the new SAO, the list will change. That another
sure.
thing, you know what I mean? I think once we see the new list develop, we'll be able to take a better look.
I guess.
Assuming this deck comes to the format now and no one is allowed to change their deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
dropping in and out of nowhere would be devastating, but everything's gonna react and change.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's hard to say.
I think the big thing is that even when everything reacts and changes, and even if they do well, is a meta where everything truly is focused on beating one thing. Is that healthy? I think that's the thing.
I don't think so. But
I don't know if everything has to be focused on beating Data Live, though.
Well, here's the big difference, right?
You do have to make concessions, though, if Data Live's as strong as we're predicting.
We talked about in all of our videos how AOT was always number one for a long time because it was a deck building consideration. However, was it ever as much of a deck building consideration as playing around the 3 to 4 broken cards in this set? And I think the answer is no. At least for me it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because AOT never said, I can't invest in board and see it win. It'd be like, and win with a strategy that invests in board. Because plenty of decks won during that time that invested in board.
At the time, though, everything was an on-reverse combo. That was like the name of the game then. And that really, was a big fucking deal.
But it never truly stopped you from winning by doing the standard Weiss thing, which was investing in board, winning board,
standby didn't exist back then, dude.
Yeah, it did, but it was very. There was standby Sal, but it wasn't as nothing like Fujimi or this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the implications of what every set has to do to play around what AOT is doing, because we talk about Konosuba all the time, right? AOT isn't a bad deck right now, but Konosuba is tied for one of the best decks, or is in my opinion, it's probably better than AOT right now in general, as just a strong set.
Definitely.
But they're not stopping. They're not running Union because AOT's around, right? They're saying, oh, I can't resolve Union in this matchup. That's okay. I have a bunch of other things I can do. I think the difference with Dow is decks have to radically change their strategy to do anything.
Yeah.
Which is like a much more toxic and frustrating metagame.
No, yeah, that just sounds like a problem, which...
Isn't having answers to standby a good thing, though? Having a level down option that's good is probably a healthy thing.
Not when the set that has it is the most oppressive standby deck.
It is the best standby set in the game, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Like, if you gave, like, I don't know, dude, like, what's a set that, like, doesn't have standby? Like, one of these English exclusive sets, like, what is, like, Mob? We haven't seen a single red card. What if Mob got leveled down? I'd be like, oh, that's cool. It's a way for them to deal with standby. Right? Because they don't have standby themselves. But Dow has the best standby and has the event and has a bunch of busted finishers. Busted.
Too much all shoved into one deck.
Yeah. I'm just very afraid. I mean, I hope that...
Yeah,
I hope
spooky.
Maybe this will start Bushiroad for... Like, get Bushiroad to start using its ban list. But, like, I doubt it. I feel like they'll change the set before that happens.
We talked about it earlier, too, though. Even if they make a ban list, it's like...
That'll still be fine.
That's still going to be good. And having a best deck in format doesn't mean a format is bad or unplayable or toxic, you know?
It depends.
I think Dow will likely be the strongest set, you know? Like, I don't think I would deny that. It's probably going to be the best position deck to play with the most options, but I don't think it's like the world's ending. Even if it becomes the new best deck, that doesn't mean that everything else is unplayable. Although it does hurt some strategies.
It's not unbeatable. It's just degenerately powerful in a lot of matchups.
It's very pushed.
Yeah.
I think the worst feeling thing about it is that we were really coming to a spot in English where there were completely ignoring the anime properties that were available to us. We had a wide variety of strong, powerful, unique strategies that people could select and play that would be interesting to play into one another. I mean, we saw even at WSI, like, the field was a lot more varied than people expected. We have a lot of things running around that are interesting, things that AOT is more than kept in check by other decks. Now that Fate is around, Fate is theoretically not a great matchup for them or whatever. They have things that they fear, even though the set is still good. They're not running wild. Things are strong, different. People can choose to play something that they like in terms of play style that's interesting. And going forward, we thought we were going to have more of that, where the sets they were bringing were interesting, like things like Fake Grand Order, have like Mob, Adventure Time, do stuff like that. And now they just throw Data Live in there. It's like, here's this set that people are scared of in Japan for being overrepresented and way too good. And now we're going to throw it in English, where they don't have things like Psycon or Grisaya.
Yeah, in a slightly weaker meta.
Where it's just like, I feel like it's going to be so problematic, like, even if the meta adjusts in a way where it's like, it's not the worst thing ever, it's just like a feels bad meta, you know?
Right,
like, it's like a Pepe Hands meta, I guess the way to put it, you know?
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the English exclusives shake out. They're our only hope at this point.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could be less doomer, but I don't wanna like mute my opinion at this point, because I do think it's an actual problem.
Given the cards we've seen, it's definitely a little spooky.
It's just so pushed, man. I think that, like, playing it and playing against it, you just feel like what you're either piloting or playing into is just on a completely another level.
Yeah.
No other player you're doing it, to the point where, and I had this issue, and I was or not issue, but like experience when I was playing it. You start having these like ridiculous expectations. The set is so broken. You start like expecting things to like always work all the time, like, because like the set is so actually stupidly broken.
Right.
Like, because more than often it actually does. You start thinking these things are that like would never be guaranteed or would be like edge cases on other sets. It's like normal things your deck does. Deck's running. Deck's broken. You know, like
Right.
it's just like
Yeah,
it
that's-
feels really gross. But yeah, I guess that's Data Live. Do we have any more thoughts? Anything at all?
I think that's just about it. We just
I'm looking forward to brewing with some of the green and blue cards.
yeah,
I think the green deck looks really fun, actually.
the set itself has some fun looking quote unquote off meta things. I think the waifu decks are hamstrung together enough that you can just throw all the cards for one girl together and it'll be a cohesive deck.
You know,
But-
it's funny. It's like all the things that are like restrictions in other sets that we complain about, like when we're doing other set reviews, they're not restrictions here. And like instead of there being weird level 2 combos and shit, there's just a bunch of really playable level 1 combos and dumb level 3 combos.
And look,
And,
you're
like-
still angry.
And this, well, no, and I'm saying, and this is what happens when you get what you want. Bushiroad saying, never ask me for anything ever again. It's just like mashed potato soccer guy and Super Smash Bros. Don't ask him for anything ever again.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. Just gonna be rough.
Yeah.
I'll scroll up here. We'll end this on the slide for the event. Y'all have a good night.
Secure that into your memory.
Yeah. Have a good morning, night, day, whatever it is where you're watching this. Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz signing off. We'll see you guys in the next video.
No, we won't. The world's ending.